An hour later, in Ava's room, Leo had already switched off the lights, plunging the space into near-total darkness. Under the covers, Ava was nestled in his arms, the two of them pressed close together. They were doing something that made the heart race, something truly thrilling. They were watching a horror movie. So this is what you meant by a weight loss method? Ava's face was a stony mask, her mood unreadable. She was so stupid. Truly, she had actually been foolish enough to believe Leo wanted to take things to the next level. Yeah, isn't this what you were talking about? Leo said with a perfectly straight face. I'm telling you, this is scientifically proven. Watching horror movies is great for burning calories. Ava was speechless. She couldn't find a single flaw in his logic. The adrenaline, the shortness of breath, the racing heartbeat, it all checked out. She was the one with her mind in the gutter. She needed to reflect on that. And it turned out Leo hadn't gone out to buy protection. He'd gone out to buy snacks because he was still a little hungry. So there they were, munching on potato chips while watching a slasher flick, making it debatable whether their net calorie count was going up or down. After a short while, the bag of chips was empty. What surprised Leo was that Ava hadn't flinched at several of the big jump scares. You're not scared? He asked. Well, I've seen a lot of horror movies ever since I was a kid, Ava confessed. I've seen pretty much all the major ones. They don't really get to me anymore. Leo's mouth twitched. Well, so much for the weight loss plan. As he recalled, you had to actually get scared for the accelerated heart rate to have any effect. So, should we try something else? Leo suggested. You have another idea? Ava shot him a sidelong glance. I heard that massages can also help you lose weight. Get out. On my way. Ava rolled her eyes. A massage? Knowing Leo, his hands wouldn't stay professional for a second. On a normal day, if he'd wheedled and pleaded a little, she might have actually agreed. But not tonight. She was still mad at him. Letting him hold her was the absolute limit of her tolerance. Since horror movies weren't doing the trick, there was no point in continuing. It was getting boring. They switched to a comedy instead. Before long, a wave of drowsiness washed over Ava, and she let out a yawn. Leo, you should go back. I'm going to sleep. Leo blinked. Go back, he asked, confused. Back where? Back to your hotel across the street. Obviously, Ava said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I never said you could sleep here. But it's so late. I'm scared of walking alone in the dark. Weren't you out by yourself all last night? Last night was last night. Tonight is tonight. You can't compare the two. Leo held up a single finger, his expression pleading. I swear on my honor this is the last time. In the end, after another round of Leo's relentless wheedling, Ava agreed to let him stay. After they both brushed their teeth, they lay down on the bed. Ava issued a stern warning. If your hands dare to wander, I'm kicking you onto the floor. What if your hands wander? Leo asked. Then I'm still kicking you onto the floor, Ava declared imperiously. Why? Leo didn't get it. Because you didn't stop me. Leo was speechless. What kind of logic was that? So either way, he was getting kicked out? After her pronouncement, Ava noticed Leo was keeping his distance and frowned. Why are you so far away? I'm afraid you'll kick me. Get over here. Let me hold you. Leo obediently scooted closer, letting Ava wrap her arms around him. I'm just used to sleeping with my Pikachu plushie, that's all. Don't get the wrong idea, she explained. Right. I'm your big yellow rodent for the night, Leo said, holding her close. They lay there with their eyes closed, talking in fits and starts. Where's Reggie? No idea. He said he was going out to make friends. You can really talk to him? Yep, it's my gift. As they talked, Ava's voice grew softer and softer until it seemed she was about to drift off. Meow. Open up. A faint meow came from outside the door. Leo, I think I heard Reggie. You're probably hearing things. That dumb cat is probably off playing with his new friends. Okay, good night. Yeah, good night. Meow. Don't you good night me. Meow. Let me in first. Outside the door, Reggie tilted his head back, a look of utter despair on his feline face. His hearing was excellent. He could hear every word the two of them were saying. After meowing for what felt like an eternity with no response, Reggie sighed. He looked around, the hallway seeming vaguely familiar, right? This is where he'd slept last night. With no other choice, the homeless Sir Reginald Fluffington curled up at Ava's door, just as he had the night before. Sleeping here, sleeping there, what's the difference? Life is hard, even for a top cat. Late that night, a black sedan passed through a toll booth and entered Westlake City. Inside were two men, both wearing blackface masks. The passenger side window rolled down, and a hand emerged, a cigarette held between two fingers. Ugh, I was suffocating. Finally made it to Westlake City. The man driving glanced over. "Cade, put the mask back on," he said flatly. Cade chuckled. "What's the rush? Let me finish this first." He brought his hand back inside, taking another satisfying drag. Then, he pulled another cigarette from the pack and offered it to the driver. "Want one?" "I'm driving. I can light it for you." "I don't smoke." Cade sullenly retracted the cigarette. "Cole, are all you assassins as cold as you are? Are all you mercenaries as chatty as you are?" Cole retorted, his eyes fixed on the road. "Not all of them. Take Rose, for instance. She was pretty cold," Cade said with a grin. "And then she died." Cole remained silent. Their trip to Westlake City had been arranged by Donovan Vance. Their target was the person who had killed Crimson Rose, Leo Evans. Vance was taking this so seriously he'd sent them both. Cole, number 5 on the Assassin Index. Cade, number 3 on the Mercenary Index. These two were among the Vance Dominion's top assets, and now they'd been dispatched to team up against a college kid. The whole thing felt absurd. "Hey Cole, you really think this Leo Evans kid is that tough?" Cade asked mockingly. "A college student took out Rose? It sounds like bullshit. And sending both of us? Isn't that a little overkill?" Cole spoke softly. "Mister, Vance's orders were to ensure that this Leo Evans does not interfere in the coming conflict." "Why?" Cade asked. "Because his sudden appearance is what got Rose killed and the Foam Alliance wiped out." "Seriously?" Cade sounded skeptical. "Rose might not have been a powerhouse, but I respected her skills as a sniper. You think this Leo kid just stumbled upon her when she was already wounded and picked up an easy kill?" "Ah," Cole scoffed. "Go try and pick up an easy kill from the Mercenary Index and see how that works out for you. The bottom line is, Mr. Vance thinks there's something off about this Leo Evans. He told us not to worry about anything else. Just kill him. So, compared to everyone else, our mission is actually pretty straightforward." The two of them were operating independently, which was why they had driven ahead to Westlake City. Behind them, the main force of the Vance Dominion was already on its way. Cade flicked his cigarette, but out the window, rolled it up, and pulled his mask back on. "I can't believe Mr. Vance is coming in person this time." "Of course he is. We're talking about Dr. Quentin Marks," Cole said, his expression grave. "Don't forget how he got these abilities in the first place." "How could I forget?" Cade chuckled, a distant look in his eyes. "Pretty much everyone ranked high on the mercenary and assassin indices got there the same way we did. We all use Serum 2 to enhance our bodies. That's how this new generation of us was created." He continued, his voice laced with a bitter nostalgia. "Back then, Dr. Marks's Serum 1 caused the Manhattan incident. After Marks vanished, the Vance Dominion used his leftover research to develop Serum 2. But Serum 2 is a deeply flawed product. Not only is it far weaker than the original, but it also turned every last one of us into short-lived freaks. I don't think a single person who's taken the serum has lived to see 40, right?" Cole was silent. It was true. Serum 2 had given them a quantum leap in power, but it had also drastically shortened their lifespans. The Vance Dominion's researchers had yet to find a solution to this fatal side effect. Creating Serum 2 from the scraps Marks had left behind was the absolute limit of their capabilities. Besides, even the Serum 1 that Dr. Marks had created was, by his own standards, a failure. That was why the Vance Dominion was so desperate to find Dr. Quentin Marks. They wanted him to create a more perfect version of the serum. The search had been going on for years, and in that time, the Dominion had used Serum 2 to cultivate a number of assets, all of whom now populated the mercenary and assassin indices. Even knowing their lives would be cut short, people were still willing to take it. They became killers and mercenaries for money, to give their families a better life. And since the Vance Dominion could provide that, many were willing to die for them. Where are we headed? To the Thorne family first. Mr. Vance has instructions for Mason Thorne. The black sedan sped through the night, making its way toward the Thorne estate. The next morning, in Ava's room, Leo's eyes fluttered open. He was groggy, his hand clutching something soft and surprisingly comfortable to squeeze. He glanced down. His eyes shot wide open, and he was instantly awake. "Holy crap, why is my hand inside Ava's shirt? Who did this? Show yourself." The moment he realized what he was holding, his heart began to pound. He was getting a reaction. He snuck a look at Ava. Her breathing was even. She was still sound asleep. Leo looked at his own hand, feeling the delicate texture, and was torn. Should he stay perfectly still? Or should he move to the other side and then stay perfectly still? Leo swallowed hard. He knew that the moment Ava woke up, he was going to get a beating. But he didn't care. He'd come this far. How could he possibly retreat now? Keeping one eye on Ava, he gave a gentle squeeze. Ava seemed to feel it, letting out a soft sound. Mm. Leo froze instantly. Ava's brow furrowed slightly, and she shifted closer, pressing herself against him. At that, Leo sucked in a sharp breath. He genuinely didn't dare move another inch. At his age, full of raging hormones, how could he possibly withstand this kind of stimulation? Any more of this? And he was afraid he'd lose control and take her right then and there. Though they were both adults, Leo knew Ava wasn't ready for that yet. If he had his way, he'd wait until they were married. Of course, if they couldn't hold back and did it beforehand, well, then he'd just have to go to the Reed family and propose early. Besides, he was pretty sure a marriage certificate could get you extra academic credits, right? Thinking of this, Leo sighed softly and reluctantly pulled his hand away. Just as he was about to get out of bed to take a cold shower, the movement woke Ava. Leo, what are you doing? Just gonna take a shower. Go back to sleep. Ava glanced at her phone. 7 in the morning. They hadn't gone to bed until 2. She was dead tired. With nothing planned for the day, she intended to sleep in. Completely oblivious to her disheveled pajamas, she closed her eyes and quickly fell back asleep, not even stirred by the sound of the shower. In the bathroom, Leo stood under the cold spray, sighing in frustration. He should have just gone back to his own hotel room. This was torture. It was like having a massive, perfectly grilled inferno burrito placed in front of you, letting you smell every delicious scent, but you could only look, not eat. For Leo, this was the cruelest torment imaginable. T6, maybe when I get back, I should just go straight to the Reed family and propose, Leo muttered, the idea taking root. Once they were married, everything would be above board. He'd be licensed to operate, certified to drive. He could do anything he wanted. He was already making $15,000 a month. A house was only a matter of time. He had a car, too. Even if Julian had bought it, it was in his name. The only real problem was, how much is Julian going to demand for a dowry? 10,000? 20? He wouldn't dare ask for 30, would he? The car only cost 20. For a fleeting moment, Leo considered talking to Anthony Reed about it, but he quickly dismissed the idea. When it came to Ava, her father didn't have the final say. He'd have to win over Julian. First, I'll ask Director Jensen for an advance on my salary. Say, 100 or 200 years worth. I'm the head of a special operations division. An advance shouldn't be too much to ask, right? With that thought, Leo made up his mind. Time to get things done. After his shower, the restless energy had mostly subsided. But the moment he saw Ava asleep on the bed, it all came rushing back. Sighing, Leo decided to get out of this dangerous place as quickly as possible. If he stayed any longer, he might not be able to control himself, and that could be fatal. Julian would probably have him killed. Leo got dressed and headed for the door, making a silent vow. He couldn't let this happen with Ava again. They had to maintain a pure, platonic-ish relationship. And when the day came that they didn't have to be so pure, he would get his revenge on her for all this torment. He opened the door quietly, trying not to wake her. However, just as he was closing it behind him, a heart-wrenching shriek pierced the air. "Mio, my tail!" The sound made Leo jump. He looked down and realized he had stepped on the dumb cat's tail. He quickly lifted his foot. Reggie stared up at him, eyes blazing with fury, and let loose a torrent of abuse. Meow, meow, meow. The content was a bit too vulgar for Leo to translate. All right. I'll buy you some tuna treats later to make it up to you, okay? Meow. Buy them now. Reggie had lost count of how many treats Leo owed him. All he knew was that every time he did a job, Leo just offered him empty promises. Fish-flavored, empty promises. He'd had enough. He was protesting, demanding that Leo pay his debts immediately. Seeing how serious the dumb cat was this time, Leo felt a pang of guilt. It was true. He had taken advantage of Reggie far too much. So, he pulled out his phone and called Ethan Sia at the Sierra Estate. Ethan was lying in bed when he groggily answered the phone. Yeah? What? Hey, Ethan. You know we're moving into your family's place today, right? So, we got a lot of luggage. Mind coming to pick us up? Am I your dad? Why would I pick you up? Because I could send those pictures of you and Melina Thorne to Lucia. I'll be there in a bit. A smile spread across Leo's face. Ethan's reaction was exactly what he'd expected. You want to play games with me? You're not on my level. Oh, and by the way, remember to bring a few bags of tuna treats. Ethan was confused. Where the hell am I supposed to get tuna treats? So, should I send those pictures? Fine. I'll get your stupid tuna treats. Great. See you soon. Leo hung up with a grin and dangled his phone in front of Reggie. See? Your treats are on the way. Meow. Hooray. Reggie chirped happily. He was finally getting his snacks. For him, there was no food more delicious. They were his inferno burrito. Nothing could replace them. Having placated the dumb cat, Leo walked to the elevator, planning to get some breakfast at the hotel restaurant. Reggie trotted happily behind him, his mind filled with visions of tuna. As man and cat waited for the elevator, Leo's brow suddenly furrowed. He whipped his head around, staring at the corner at the end of the hall. "Who's there?" he called out sharply. No response. Leo decisively activated his skills. With a burst of speed, he was at the corner in an instant. It was empty. Huh? Was I just imagining things? Leo scanned the area. He was sure he felt someone watching him. That's why he'd reacted. Dumb cat, did you hear anything just now? Meow. Nope. He'd been daydreaming about his tuna treats, not paying attention to anything else. Leo let out a soft breath. He must have been overly sensitive. Let's go. Man and cat turned back and stepped into the elevator. After they were gone, a figure slowly emerged from the corner. From beneath the brim of a black cap, a pair of sharp eyes stared in the direction Leo had gone. Didn't expect him to notice that. The man muttered to himself, "His reflexes are definitely beyond human. If I wasn't so quick, the kid would have actually caught me. And from the looks of it, that white cat isn't ordinary either. I'll have to be more careful next time." With that, the figure vanished back around the corner, as if he had never been there at all. In the restaurant, Leo was eating breakfast alone, lost in thought. The main question on his mind was, where exactly was Dr. Quentin Marks? Director Jensen wants you to find him. The Vance Dominion wants the Thorne family to find him. And not only that, the Vances also want to kill me. But in their eyes, Dr. Marks is far more important than I am. So, working backward, if Dr. Marks appears, won't the Vance Dominion's attention shift away from me? At that thought, Leo's eyes lit up. He got it. As long as the Vances are focused on Dr. Marks, I can use the opportunity to cause some trouble for them. Leo's hatred for the Vance Dominion was visceral. He wanted nothing more than to hit them with something big, something explosive. Otherwise, he'd have to live in constant fear, worried about being assassinated at any moment. So the most important thing right now is to find this Quentin Marks guy. With so many people looking for him, his appearance would undoubtedly draw everyone's attention. When that happened, no one would be watching Leo. He could do whatever he wanted. He could blow up whatever he wanted. Leo's eyes gleamed. So where was he? Of everyone he met so far, the most likely suspect was that professor at Westlake University who always wore a mask. He hadn't thought much of it before, but now, the more he considered it, the more suspicious it seemed. Time to act. What if it was a lucky guess? Leo pulled out his phone, found Henry Ann's number, and gave him a call. After a long pause, the call was finally answered. "Hello, who is this?" Henry's voice sounded exhausted. "It's me, Leo Evans. The guy who gave you his jacket the other day. Do you remember?" "Oh, I remember now. Mr. Evans, right?" Henry said, sounding apologetic. "I'm so sorry. I was supposed to bring your jacket to you yesterday, but something came up at the lab, and I forgot. Why don't you give me your address now, and I'll drop it off?" Leo's eyebrow rose. "How about this? I'm heading to campus later anyway. I can just swing by and pick it up from you." That works too." Henry hesitated for a moment before agreeing. Having Leo come to him would save a lot of time. Both he and the professor were incredibly busy, pressed for time with a heavy workload. Henry didn't want to waste a moment on anything unrelated to the experiment. "Thanks so much, then. Just let me know when you get to campus, and I'll come find you." "Great. I'll be in touch." Leo hung up and let out a slow breath. He was about to find out if this so-called professor was really Dr. Quentin Marks. At noon, Ethan Sierra pulled up to the hotel, a miserable expression on his face. In his hand was a bag of tuna treats. The moment he got out of the car, he felt a wave of dizziness. How had his life come to this? The great heir of the Sieff family, driving a six-figure car to deliver cat snacks. It was absurd. "Hey, you're here," Leo said with a grin. "Meow. Tuna." From a distance, Reggie spotted the bag in Ethan's hand. He followed the scent and launched himself at it. With a flash of white, he dived into the plastic bag and started tearing into the treats. Ethan, looking disgusted, placed the bag, containing both cat and snacks, on a table and looked at Leo. "Why are you the only one here? Those two are still packing. And you're done." "Of course." Leo patted the backpack on the table, looking proud. "Minimalist travel. It starts with me." Ethan's mouth twitched. "You're not a minimalist. You're just lazy. Got anything to eat?" "I skipped breakfast." Ethan rubbed his stomach, feeling hungry. Leo froze. Where's he supposed to find food at a time like this? Then, his eyes fell on Reggie, who was furiously devouring the tuna treats. "You want to split some with the dumb cat?" "Meow." "Split what?" Reggie's head shot up. He stared warily at Ethan, still chewing on a treat. These were his snacks. No one else could touch them. Seeing this, Ethan's eye twitched. No wonder they say pets are like their owners. It was absolutely true. Forget it. I'll go out with Lucia later. Ethan found a seat. Oh, so Inspector Shang is taking time off work to go on a date with you? Leo teased. Isn't that a dereliction of duty? Don't make me hit you this early in the morning, Ethan said, fighting the urge to punch Leo. Lucia worked for days straight to get today off. Wow, so dedicated, Leo remarked. Unlike me. I hear my office at the bureau has been turned into a storage closet. Then how do you work? What's work? Leo asked, feigning confusion. Just because I joined the BSO doesn't mean I have to work for them. Ethan's mouth twitched again. What the hell is going on at the Ethelberg BSO? How can they tolerate someone like you? Suddenly, Ethan pulled out his phone and sighed. What's wrong? Leo asked. Final project for one of my classes. Ethan waved his phone. The idiot professor is making us do it as a group project, and I got picked as group leader. I get it. Leo understood immediately, giving Ethan a look of deep sympathy. It was truly a heartbreaking situation. Anyone who's been to college knows the truth about group projects. It doesn't mean many hands make light work. It means one person does everyone else's work while getting criticized by a bunch of useless freeloaders. It doesn't build teamwork skills. It just exposes you to the sheer diversity of incompetence in the species. Leo had been there before. He'd been a group leader, too. He knew exactly how Ethan felt. Hang in there, man, Leo said, patting Ethan's shoulder. It's all for the credits. Ethan pinched the bridge of his nose and sighed. I'm going to ask the professor if I can just do it myself. Just then, Ava and Kane emerged from the elevator, dragging their suitcases. After checking out at the front desk, they loaded their luggage into Ethan's car. Leo and Ava would ride with Ethan, while Kane would drive Leo's car. They couldn't just leave it at the hotel. At that moment, Leo felt a renewed craving for a driver's license. How could the head of a Special Operations Division not have one? He'd have to ask Director Jensen if he could pull some strings. On the way to the Sierra State, Leo and the others exchanged pleasantries with Mr. Sierra before the butler showed them to their rooms. It was less a set of rooms and more a small villa. The extravagantly wealthy Mr. Sierra had cleared out an entire guest house for the three of them. Leo was deeply impressed. After moving in, Leo found Ethan. Hey, when's your date? Why do you ask? I need to go to West Lake University later, and I can't get in without you. What are you going there for? Leo didn't hide it, telling Ethan his suspicion that the professor was Dr. Quentin Marks. As he listened, Ethan's brow furrowed, his expression turning serious. No way. Are you sure the professor is the Dr. Marks they're looking for? Not sure, but I think it's a strong possibility. We'll know if we go check it out, right? Then I'm coming with you, Ethan said decisively. If Leo's suspicion was true, this was a major development. Leo told Ava and Kane about the plan, and they both decided to sit this one out. They were tired after 2 days of fun, and since Leo was on official business, they didn't want to be a liability. Be safe, Ava told him before he left. Don't do anything dangerous, you hear me? Don't worry, I'm an outstanding citizen of Ethelberg. Why would I do anything dangerous? He shouldn't have said that. The words triggered a stress reaction in Kane. Every time Leo said that, he was about to cause trouble. You're sure nothing's going to happen? Kane leaned in and whispered to Leo. I really don't want to get a sudden call from you, saying you've stirred something up again. Hey, relax. Leo was exasperated. He was just going to do a little recon. What could possibly happen? These people had a seriously skewed perception of him. All he was doing was going out for a bit. Was it really that big a deal? We're leaving. Leo and Ethan told Mr. Sia they were heading out and left for West Lake University. Mr. Sia simply told them to be careful, not giving the matter much thought. In his view, Dr. Marks had been in hiding for years. He wouldn't be found so easily. Leo and Ethan were probably going to come back empty-handed. In the car, Leo sat comfortably in the passenger seat, enjoying the scenery. Ethan drove, growing more annoyed by the second. Why do I always have to be your damn driver? Because I don't have a license, Leo said, completely unapologetic. Then why the hell don't you get one? Because I can't bloody pass the test. What do you want me to do? Leo shot back, getting emotional. You think I don't want to? That thing is hard these days. What's so hard about it? Ethan retorted. It's been the same damn maneuvers for years. Maybe the driving schools aren't the problem. Maybe you should look in the mirror for a change. Has your driving gotten any better? Have you been seriously practicing your parallel parking? Leo was stunned into silence. That tone. Where had he heard that before? Half an hour later, they arrived at West Lake University. Ethan had a word with the security guard, had Leo sign the visitor log, and they were in. Leo got curious. Aren't you supposed to be on a date with your dear Lucia? Ethan sighed. I had to. I told her we'd do dinner tonight instead. Can I come? What do you think? Leo clicked his tongue, then adopted a sing-song, cloying tone. "Oh, Ethan, do you think Lucia will be mad that you're out alone with me? When did you become such a drama queen?" A dark cloud formed over Ethan's head. He felt like Leo's games were getting progressively weirder. His mental state had never been great, but now it was clearly deteriorating. Leo pulled out his phone and contacted Henry Yen, telling him he was on campus. "Okay, wait for me by the library. I'll be right there." Henry hung up. Ethan led Leo to the library. After a few minutes, they saw Henry jogging toward them in the distance, still wearing his white lab coat and carrying Leo's jacket. "Huff, I'm so sorry to make you come all this way," Henry panted. "I know I said I'd bring it to you, but the lab has been crazy these last couple of days." "No problem, it's nothing." Leo took his jacket, his expression casual. "So busy, huh? Making any progress with the professor's experiment?" I can't really talk about that." Henry smiled apologetically. "The professor's research is very important. I can't disclose any details." "Oh, right. I get it." Leo waved his hand dismissively. "Well, you should get back to it. I won't keep you. Tell the professor I said hi." "Okay. Next time you're free, dinner's on me." With that, Henry jogged away, clearly in a hurry. The professor was waiting for him back at the lab. Ethan watched him go. "You're just going to let him leave?" "Of course not," Leo said quietly. "Follow him. Let's see where this lab actually is." The two of them trailed Henry from a distance. Even so, Leo couldn't keep his mouth shut. "Ethan, what do you think Lucia would say if she knew you were tailing another man?" "Don't make me fight you in public." Ethan's hand slipped discreetly inside his jacket, his fingers wrapping around the hilt of a knife. If Leo uttered one more word, he was going to use that blade to give him a new hairstyle. Luckily, Leo got the message and immediately shut up. Leo, the picture of obedience. Soon, both of them were frowning. Seeing that Henry still hadn't stopped, Leo couldn't help but ask, "Are the labs at your school this far out?" They were almost at the back hills of the campus. "I don't think so," Ethan said, equally puzzled. "As I recall, the back hills are mostly used for agricultural research plots and stuff. You don't think their experiment is related to crops, do you?" But since Henry was heading this way, there must be a lab here. At that moment, both of them sensed something was off. This place was too remote. Whoa, there really is something here. Not far ahead, a small building came into view. Henry was walking right toward it. That had to be the professor's lab. They stopped, looking at each other. "So, what's the plan?" "Bust in," Ethan asked. "Busting in is so crude." Leo looked at him with disdain. "We're men of culture. We should use a more cultured approach." "Which is?" "See that window up top?" Leo pointed. "I'm going to climb in through there." "Isn't that still just busting in?" Leo pretended not to hear him and pulled his familiar black mask from his pocket. "You wait here. I'll be right back." "Hey, you." Before Ethan could stop him, Leo was already in motion. Ethan covered his face and let out a deep sigh. He could understand climbing in, but why the mask? Didn't that just make him look more like a thief? If he got caught, it would be impossible to explain. Hiding in the distance, Ethan watched as Leo scaled the wall with nimble agility. TSK, his skills really are impressive. Even though he'd heard Lucia talk about Leo taking on 7 guys at once, Ethan had never seen it with his own eyes and had remained skeptical. The Leo he knew from high school was a world apart from the person he saw now. This kid didn't suddenly get a system or something like in a novel, did he? The thought made Ethan laugh. That kind of thing could never happen in real life. His smile faded as he cautiously scanned the surroundings, keeping watch for Leo. If Leo got caught, he wouldn't be able to escape either. Or maybe he could, but that bastard Leo would definitely sell him out. He'd probably frame him, too, making him out to be the mastermind. Knowing Leo, that's exactly what he would do. Meanwhile, having just slipped into the lab, Leo suddenly froze. "Why am I wearing a mask?" TSK. A careless mistake, Leo muttered to himself regretfully. "Without the mask, if I get caught, I can just blame Ethan. But with it on, I clearly look like a bad guy. It'll be harder to frame him." Realizing his error, Leo took off the mask, revealing his face without a care. What was there to be afraid of? He had backup. The heir of the Sief family had his back, and if that failed, he could always get Lucia to bail him out. Thinking about it, Leo realized his connections were terrifyingly strong. He had people on both sides of the law. He could pretty much run this town. TSK. I was too well-behaved before. It just didn't click. Leo shook his head, pushing the thoughts aside. Business first. He pulled Dr. Marx's photo from his pocket and studied it carefully. Now, all he had to do was find the professor, see the face under his mask, and check if it matched the picture. Leo crouched down, entering stealth mode. This feeling of sneaking around, He was all too familiar with it. Practice makes perfect, after all. He moved cautiously through the lab. It wasn't large, and soon he heard the voices of Henry and the professor. Following the sound, he reached a doorway. Pressing himself against the wall, he crept closer and peeked inside. He only needed one look. He yanked his head back, sucking in a sharp, cold breath. Damn, it's really him. In that split second, he had caught a clear view of the professor's face. It was an 80% match to the photo of Dr. Quentin Marks. You gotta be kidding me. Is it really this easy? Leo had come here with a blind squirrel finds a nut mentality with absolutely no expectation of actually finding Dr. Quentin Marks. But that one glance had sent his heart into overdrive. Did things really just fall into place this suddenly? Fearing he'd seen wrong, Leo peeked inside again. The figure in the white lab coat, meticulously mixing reagents. Wasn't that damn Dr. Marks? This time, Leo was absolutely certain. He had found him. Suppressing his excitement, Leo retraced his steps. "Huh, you back already?" Ethan stood up as he saw Leo approaching. As Leo ran back, Ethan immediately asked, "Well, what did you see?" "Ethan, we hit the jackpot," Leo said, his face alight with excitement. "It's really him. I swear I didn't see wrong." The words made Ethan's head spin. He found him, the man the Vance Dominion had been searching for years, and the two of them just found him by taking a stroll around campus. "Are you sure you're not mistaken?" Ethan asked again. "Absolutely. That guy is Dr. Quentin Marks. Hold on. Let me make a call first." Leo pulled out his phone, found Director Jensen's number, and dialed without hesitation. He'd found the guy. He deserved some major credit for this, and a hefty bonus. "Hey, Jensen. What did you call me?" On the other end, Director Jensen was a little stunned. Since when did this kid have the guts to call him by his last name? Don't sweat the details," Leo said, his tone conspiratorial. "Guess who I just found?" Hearing this, Director Jensen's heart skipped a beat. "Don't tell me this kid actually found Dr. Marks. That would completely derail my plan with Sean. I found Dr. Quentin Marks." Before Jensen could even guess, Leo blurted it out excitedly. Surprised? Amazed? On the other end of the line, Director Jensen buried his face in his hand in agony. It was over. It was all over. A little while ago, this news would have made him ecstatic. But after his call with Director Shang, he now had only one thought. Keep this unstable, dangerous element named Leo Evans as far away from Dr. Quentin Marks as possible. Gee, good work. You don't need to worry about the rest. Leave it to me. Leo was confused. Why aren't you asking me where he is or how I found him? Jensen's reaction was off. Air. Director Jensen was at a loss for words. Damn it, I slipped up. Why did Leo have to pick now to be sharp? How was he supposed to explain this? Well, let's not talk about that for now. Leo's words brought a wave of relief to Jensen. But his next sentence sent the director's heart right back into his throat. "Jensen, I have a bold idea." Leo paused dramatically. "I'm thinking of exposing Dr. Marks to draw the Vance Dominion's attention. What do you think?" "I think it's a terrible idea." Director Jensen roared into the phone. Leo's bold idea had him breaking out in a cold sweat. "Leo, under no circumstances can Dr. Marks be exposed, do you hear me? From this moment on, you would stay away from anything related to him. Don't get involved, and don't even think about it. That is a direct order from me, your superior." Jensen's shouting was so loud that Ethan could hear it, and he shot Leo a strange look. Was the director of the Ethelberg BSO always this emotionally unstable? Leo was stunned by the outburst. He even felt a little wronged. All he did was voice an idea, and Jensen was screaming at him, in front of Ethan no less, completely embarrassing him. Leo was getting emotional. He was feeling rebellious. If you dare to act on your own, you can forget about ever seeing another paycheck for the rest of your life. No. I'll listen. The threat of losing his salary immediately brought Leo to heel. Was he kidding? He was planning to ask Jensen for an advance to pay for Ava's dowry. If his salary was gone, how would he marry her? What if that bastard Julian demanded an astronomical sum? Defeated, Leo had no choice but to abandon his idea. Discretion was the better part of valor. Damn it, the second I'm financially independent, I'm quitting. I don't need this crap, Leo thought. On the other end, hearing Leo's promise, Director Jensen was still uneasy. You didn't let Dr. Marks see you, did you? No, I was careful. Good. Jensen paused, still not convinced. He felt that having Leo in Westlake City was too big of a wild card. How about you come back to Ethelberg? Jensen suggested. If Leo wasn't under his direct supervision, he couldn't rest easy. The stakes were too high this time to allow for any mistakes. What? Leo was taken aback. Don't be ridiculous, Jensen. I have exams. If I go back now, my professor will kill me. Hearing this, Jensen didn't press the issue. Pushing too hard might make Leo suspicious, which would only create more trouble. Fine, we'll leave it at that. And remember, get that bold idea out of your head. After one last warning, Jensen hung up. Leo lowered the phone, his lips pursed in a pout. His grand ambition had been snuffed out before it could even sprout. So what now? Ethan asked. What else? Leo glanced at him. You go on your date with Lucia, and I'll go back and cultivate my relationship with my Ava. We go our separate ways to our own girlfriends. Aren't you going back to my house? Ethan shot him a glare. He was really making himself at home. TSK, would you rather I can be a third wheel? On second thought, you should go back. As they talked, they started walking out of the university. Jensen's message was clear. Stay out of the DR. Mark's situation. It was obvious the BSO had their own plans. In that case, why should they get involved and create more trouble for themselves? Neither of them noticed that after they left, a figure appeared where they had been standing. The eyes under the black brim looked toward the distant lab. DR. Quentin Marks didn't expect him to be hiding here. Quite a surprise. Then, the man chuckled and shook his head slowly. Whatever happened with Dr. Marks had little to do with him, but he was more than happy to grab some popcorn and watch the fireworks. He withdrew his gaze, and the figure took a step, silently disappearing from the spot. Leo and Ethan reached the entrance of Westlake University. Well, you can get back on your own. I'm going to find Lucia, Ethan said. What? Leo's jaw dropped. He pointed an accusatory finger at Ethan. Ethan, yeah, you have no heart. You're a traitor who chooses women over friends. I've seen your true colors. You're ditching me here just to go on a date. If your father finds out about this, I'll change my last name if you don't get a beating. Ethan felt a massive headache coming on. He looked at Leo, speechless. Can't you just get a taxi? I'll pay for it. Is it about the money? Leo accused. It's about your attitude. Ethan's fists clenched. He had been putting up with Leo all day. Did he really think he wouldn't snap? His right hand slid into his pocket, about to grab his knife and settle this once and for all. Just then, a voice drew their attention. Excuse me, are you two students at Westlake University? A short man walked up to them, a smile on his face. Here's the thing, I have a small job I need a hand with. If you're willing, I'll pay you $500 each when we're done. How about it? Leo and Ethan exchanged a look. Was this some kind of scammer preying on college students? What's the job? Be specific, Leo said. Hey, it's like this. The short man pointed in a direction. I have a warehouse over there, and I need to move some goods out. I can't do it alone, so I'm looking for a few people to help. If you're interested and you're not happy with the price, we can negotiate. What do you two think? Looking for manual labor? Leo's eyes were filled with suspicion as he sized up the man. Suddenly, his pupils contracted. He saw a slight bulge at the man's waist, something tucked under his shirt. A gun. In an instant, Leo was on high alert. Was this another assassination attempt? But thinking about it, that seemed unlikely. If they were really trying to kill him, the guy they sent was ridiculously unprofessional. Who are they looking down on? Sorry, not interested. We're interested. Leo cut Ethan off before he could refuse. We're both short on cash. Take us there. But 500 isn't enough. We're students at WLU, intellectuals. You gotta pay more. That's great. Don't worry about the money. I'll make sure you're satisfied, the short man said, beaming now that Leo had agreed. Inside, the man, whose name was Mickey, was sneering. So easy. Two more hooked. College students really were the easiest to fool. The moment money was mentioned, their IQs dropped. Before Leo and Ethan, he'd already tricked several others with the same method. Meanwhile, Ethan's head was filled with question marks. What are you doing? He whispered. This is obviously a scam. Why are you even talking to him? Something's off about this guy, Leo whispered back. Look at his waist. Ethan's eyes casually drifted to Mickey's waist, and he too saw the slight bulge. A normal person might not notice anything, but Ethan was no normal person. As the heir of the Sief family, he was more than familiar with firearms. One glance was all it took for him to be 80% sure it was a gun. This was Westlake City, where gun control was even stricter than in Ethelberg. Who was this guy? Was running into him and Leo an accident? Or were they his intended targets? In that case, lead the way, Leo said with a smile. But I'm telling you now, if it's a lot of stuff, you're going to have to pay more. Ha ha ha, of course. Mickey's face was wreathed in smiles. Hearing Leo harp on about money, he snorted inwardly. You want money? Let's see if you still dare to ask for it after I get you there. Come on, follow me. It's not far. Leo and Ethan started walking, following Mickey toward the supposed warehouse. As they walked, the area became more and more deserted. until there was almost no one else around. This warehouse of yours is in a pretty quiet spot, Leo remarked casually. Tell me about it. When I rented it, I was just looking for something cheap, so the location is a bit remote, Mickey said with a sheepish laugh. It's just a little further. We're almost there. Leo nodded without a word. Ethan, however, had already slipped his hand into his pocket, his fingers wrapped around the hilt of his knife. Though his eyes seemed to be wandering aimlessly, he was keeping a close watch on Mickey's movements. The second Mickey's hand went to his waist, Ethan's throwing knife would teach him a lesson. We're here, you two. After a few more twists and turns, Mickey stopped in front of a dilapidated building. This is a warehouse. Leo's mouth twitched. It's a bit rundown. That's why I need to move the stuff out and find a new place, Mickey said, scratching his head. He opened the door and gestured for them to go inside. Leo and Ethan looked at each other. Then, Leo stepped forward and entered the building, with Ethan right behind him. Once they were both inside, the expression on Mickey's face instantly turned sinister. Clang! The door slammed shut. Leo's eyes adjusted to the dim light, and he took in the scene. In one corner, a group of college-age kids were huddled together, squatting on the floor. Their faces were bruised and swollen. They had clearly just been beaten. When they saw Mickey enter, fear flashed in their eyes. On a sofa sat several men, smoking cigarettes and glaring at Leo and Ethan. It was obvious they were local thugs. Chun, I brought two more, Mickey said from behind them, addressing one of the men on the sofa. These two are also from WLU. On the way here, they even had the nerve to haggle with me. Oh, the man called Chun chuckled, stubbed out his cigarette, and looked Leo and Ethan over with amusement. Then his gaze shifted away. Same as always, he said flatly. Beat them first, then ask questions. You got it. Mickey nodded, then, along with a few others, cracked his knuckles and advanced on Leo and Ethan. Well now, aren't you too composed? Mickey sneered, growing more annoyed by their lack of panic. Do you have any idea what kind of situation you're in? See those guys in the corner? They try to fight back at first, too. A good beating sorted them out. In a minute, you'll be in even worse shape than them. I brought back a lot of people today, but you're the first one who dared to haggle with me. Mickey glared at Leo. Today, pretty boy, I'm going to make sure you see some of your own blood. I'm going to teach you that the real world is a cruel place. Mickey's words were met with silence from both Leo and Ethan. They looked at each other, a single thought running through both their minds. That's it. Leo, especially, had seen the gun and assumed Mickey was some kind of serious operator. Maybe not an assassin, but at least someone with syndicate backing. He'd been gearing up for a major fight. And this was it? This was just a bunch of low-life thugs bullying college students. Oomph. Scared stiff, are you? Mickey sneered. Get on your knees, call me Grandpa, and I might tell them to go easy on you. He stared menacingly at Leo. This was the pretty boy who had haggled with him. Now, he was going to get some special treatment. To his surprise, Leo didn't look scared at all. In fact, he looked like he was about to laugh. You're asking for it. Seeing Leo still standing there, a mocking look on his face, Mickey's anger boiled over. Get them, beat them to a pulp, but leave them breathing. As he finished speaking, several thugs started forward, cracking their knuckles. However, before they could even get close, Leo and Ethan moved. Ethan lunged forward with incredible speed, heading straight for the man called Chun. You dare. The other thugs reacted, trying to intercept him, but a shadow blurred past them. They saw a flash, then the world went black as they collapsed, unconscious. Leo had gone all out, taking down the entire group in an instant. Only Chun and Mickey were left. Chun sat frozen, a cigarette dangling from his lips, his eyes wide with terror. He didn't dare move. A razor-sharp blade was pressed firmly against his neck, already drawing a thin line of blood. Arg! Mickey's situation was even worse. Leo had kicked his legs out from under him, and he was now kneeling on the floor, his face a mask of agony. Leo calmly reached down, took the gun from his waist, and glanced at it. Crap, it's a toy. Hearing that, Ethan, who was standing a few feet away, was rendered speechless. After all that, it was a toy gun? He sighed and looked at Chun. Start explaining. What is all this? Chun was already drenched in sweat. He shot a murderous glare at Mickey, cursing his entire family tree. You call these two college students? Since when are all college students like this? Hey man, let's just talk this out. Chun stammered, forcing a smile. I'll tell you everything. Can you just ease up on the knife a little? It kind of hurts. Ethan loosened his grip slightly. Chun gasped for air. Leo glanced at the students in the corner. They were still in shock, clearly not processing what had just happened. What are you waiting for? Get out of here. Did they want to stick around and watch the show? His words snapped them out of it. They scrambled to their feet, stammering their thanks as they bolted for the door. Once they were gone, Ethan spoke again. You said to beat them first, then ask questions. What are you asking students you lure here? We were asking if there was someone named Dr. Quentin Marks at Westlake University. Chun stuttered. At his words, both Leo and Ethan frowned. Who told you to ask? Where did you hear that name? I was just paid to do a job. I don't know anything else. Chun pleaded, looking innocent. A while ago, a man found me, gave me a sum of money, and told me to find out if there was a Quentin Marks at WLU. But the security there is tight, and I can't get in. So I had to use this method, tricking a few students over to ask them one by one. And to rob them of a few things while we were at it. A few things? Leo snorted. From the looks of them, I'd say you robbed them of quite a lot. But that wasn't his problem. The students would report it, and the police would handle it. What he cared about was the identity of the man Chun mentioned, and why he suspected Dr. Marks was at the university. What's the man's name? What does he look like? Leo asked. A name I don't know, but his appearance. Chun described the man to them. How do you contact each other? Leo pressed. He always calls me. I never know when. Just then, a phone started ringing. It was Chen's. At a nod from Ethan, Chun picked up the phone from the table, his eyes widening. What a coincidence. It's him. Leo's eyes narrowed. He walked over and took the phone from Chen's hand. Hey, Leo, what are you doing? Ethan asked. If he answered, they'd be exposed. But Leo simply pinched his throat, answered the call, and grunted a single word. Yeah. His voice was a near-perfect imitation of Chen's. Holy crap. Ethan's eyes went wide. Now he was truly shocked. He could do that. What other weird skills did Leo have? What's the situation? Any luck? A deep voice asked from the other end. If Mason Thorne had been there, he would have recognized it instantly. It was Zeke phone. Leo paused, glanced at Chun, and said, Your timing is perfect. I just got something out of one of the students. Oh, Zeke sounded surprised. Actual results? He had just been casting a wide net, not expecting to catch anything. What did you find out? Spit it out. Zeke said impatiently. If they could confirm Dr. Marks was at WLU, it would save them a lot of trouble. Ahem. Well, about that. Leo feigned hesitation. This information, it's pretty valuable to you, right? What are you getting at? I need more money, Leo said bluntly. What you gave me before isn't enough. And this time, I only want cash. On the other end, Zeke phone frowned and cursed under his breath. Greedy bastard. How much? Leo looked at Chun, asking with his eyes how much he would demand. Chun slowly raised one finger. Leo nodded, then spoke into the phone. I want $1 million. What? Zeke was stunned. Ethan was stunned. Chun was even more stunned. The last job I gave you, I paid you $5,000, and now you have a nerve to ask me for $1 million? Zeke roared. He couldn't believe it. Did this guy have a death wish? Seeing Chen's reaction, Leo realized he'd overshot the price. But so what? Look, the price is $1 million. I'm telling you, what I found out is about that Quentin Marks guy. $1 million. Cash. Non-negotiable. Ethan gave Leo a thumbs up. Savage. This guy belonged in the underworld. On the other end, Zeke phone gritted his teeth. Fine, he said, his voice dripping with venom. $1 million. Centennial Park, 8 o'clock tonight. He had no intention of bringing the money. In his eyes, Chun was already a dead man, and dead men don't eat cash. Great. See you there. With that, Leo hung up. Leo pocketed the phone and clapped his hands together. All right, that should lure him out. We'll see what's what tonight. Ethan was exasperated. More stuff to do tonight? He was supposed to be having dinner with Lucia. What was he going to do now? What would we do with these two? Ethan asked, referring to Chun and Mickey, the only ones still conscious. The rest had been knocked out cold by Leo. Mickey had remained silent throughout the entire ordeal, as meek as a lamb. He knew when to fold. He understood he'd picked a fight with the wrong people. Whatever happened to Chun was Chen's problem. He just wanted to save his own skin. But now, hearing Ethan talk about killing them, Mickey couldn't stay quiet any longer. No, please don't kill me. I'll do anything, he begged, kneeling on the floor with his hands clasped together. Yeah, we'll do anything. We can give you money, whatever you want, just please don't kill us. Chen chimed in. They were genuinely terrified, regretting everything. They were just common street thugs with a toy gun who bullied weak students. They had never encountered a situation like this. These guys talked about murder as casually as ordering dinner. They were on a completely different level. TSK, are you always this aggressive? Talking about killing people all the time. Leo chided Ethan. We're men of culture. I'm trying to get a model student commendation this semester. We can't be doing things like this. Ethan, you have a serious attitude problem. Leo frowned, delivering a stern lecture to his comrade. Ethan grimaced. You got a lot of nerve talking to me. Who was the one who killed 4 people in a derelict high-rise 2 nights ago? And someone like that was up for a commendation? Ethelberg University must have some truly fine school spirit. Then what do you suggest? Ethan asked irritably. I imagine those students who escaped have already called the police, Leo said calmly. We'll just tie them up and let the cops find them. However, he leaned in close to Mickey's face and smiled. You know what to tell the police, right? I don't need to coach you, do I? Don't worry, sir. Mickey's lips trembled. I won't say a word about you two. Smack. Leo slapped Mickey across the face, leaving him stunned. What now? Why wouldn't you say anything? Leo demanded. If you don't tell them about us, how are the officers supposed to commend us for our bravery? Huh. Mickey was completely lost. Commend? He thought Leo wanted to keep their involvement a secret, but he actually wanted recognition? Listen up. Leo pointed to himself. I am Leo Evans, from Ethelberg University. Then he pointed to Ethan. He is Ethan Xie, from Westlake University. The two of us, acting with courage and wisdom, heroically smashed a criminal enterprise and rescued a group of trapped college students. You will emphasize this point when you talk to the police, you understand? After his speech, Leo even left their contact information with Mickey for him to give to the police, just in case they couldn't find them. This was a story of student heroism, a good deed that could be recorded in their permanent files and used for awards and honors. There was no way Leo was going to let an opportunity like this slip by. Mickey stared blankly, holding the piece of paper with their phone numbers, his mind a complete void. Who am I? Where am I? Have I become a meritorious achievement? Chun was just as bewildered. Were these two really college students? A moment ago, he thought they were some underworld bosses he'd never heard of, but they were actually just students? TSK, you've got a quick mind, kid, Ethan said with genuine admiration. With this, my awards and honors for the semester are in the bag. Hearing this, a wave of despair washed over Chun. You held a knife to my throat, all for a couple of worthless certificates from your school? Was it really worth it? Though they were reluctant, their bodies were very honest. The two of them found some rope and tied themselves up securely. Don't you worry, sirs, Mickey said. Trussed up like a turkey. I'll make sure you both get outstanding student awards. As for the others, Leo didn't bother with them. He hadn't pulled his punches. They wouldn't be waking up anytime soon. Let's go, Ethan. We have important things to do. Huh? What now? Ethan put away his knife and followed Leo out of the building. They couldn't wait for the police to arrive. They'd be taken in for questioning, which would be a waste of time. As they walked, Leo's expression turned serious. Ethan, I have a feeling that guy isn't simple, and he'll probably have people waiting to ambush me at Centennial Park tonight. No kidding. You think he's really going to give you $1 million? The topic made Ethan angry. What the hell were you thinking, demanding $1 million? Do you have any concept of what $1 million is? You don't know jack. The 4 words came out with a spray of spittle. Let me tell you, what I need most right now is money. Before the end of the year, I'm going to earn enough to marry my wife. That stopped Ethan in his tracks. What does that mean? You're not thinking of getting married, are you? Why not? I'm going to propose the moment I get back. What's the rush? Our school gives you academic credits for a marriage certificate. Ethan was silent. After a long moment, he asked, for real? He was tempted. Those were academic credits. If that was true, then maybe he and Lucia could go get one too. It only cost $9 after all, assuming Lucia didn't beat him to death first. He had no idea Leo was just using credits as an excuse. His real goal was to be able to do certain happy things with Ava, openly and without restraint, from morning till night. So how much do you have in savings? Ethan asked mockingly. I hear the dowries over in Ethelberg aren't cheap. Not to mention, she's the princess of the Reed family. You think you can marry her for a few $1,000s? Ethan's question struck a painful chord. Leo was quiet for a moment before replying. I have a car. The car he had extorted from Julian. The atmosphere grew quiet. Ethan waited for a long time, but nothing else came. That's it. Ethan stared. You have a car, and nothing else? What's that supposed to mean? Leo retorted. At my age, having a car is pretty damn good, okay? Plus, I have a job that pays $15,000 a month, and I've got over 10 grand in my bank account. My future is bright. Your future might be bright, but Ethelberg's is looking pretty bleak, Ethan thought to himself. Still, he felt a pang of envy. Leo was already at the point of talking about marriage, while he and Lucia hadn't even gone public. But at least he had money. He could afford a dowry. The bad news was his future father-in-law was Director Shang. The thought made Ethan want to cry. Why was his love life so difficult while Leo's was so smooth? Was this the price of being rich? Suddenly, an idea sparked in Ethan's mind. Leo, I have a bold idea, Ethan said excitedly. Want to hear it? Leo gave him a strange look. You have a bold idea, too. Go on. Look, you need money, right? Ethan pointed to himself. And I happen to have plenty of it. So let's make a deal. I'll help you with the dowry, and you help me with my father-in-law. How about it? Your father-in-law? Lucia's dad. Leo didn't agree right away. He was cautious. Is he tough to deal with? What's his story? Heir, right? I guess you don't know about this yet. Ethan scratched his head, looking a little embarrassed. Actually, Lucia's father. He's a director of the Westlake City BSO. The hell he is. Leo's eyes widened, cutting him off. You're dating the BSO director's daughter? In that instant, it all made sense why Lucia, at her young age, was already a grade 1 director. The Westlake City BSO was practically her family business. I'm out, Leo said without a second's hesitation. You couldn't pay me enough to do that. Was he joking? He wanted Leo to help him win over the director of the Westlake City BSO? Who did he think he was? How many BSO directors were easy to deal with? He was still basically an indentured servant to Director Jensen. Leo gritted his teeth and glared at Ethan. This guy was trying to get him killed. Come on, let's talk about it. Ethan pleaded, still holding out hope. Leo's eyes darted around, and then a smile spread across his face. I'll help you, but you have to do one more thing for me. What is it? Name it. The director of the Ethelberg BSO tricked me into signing an ironclad contract. Help me pay the termination fee. How much is the fee? Ethan asked, a note of caution in his voice. Like Leo, he didn't agree right away. Not much. Leo grinned and held up one finger. Just 10 million. Forget it. Ethan turned and started walking away. Hey, wait, let's talk about it. Leo tried to stop him. Talk about what? What do you take me for? Ethan sprayed him with spittle. Do you think I'm made of money? That's $10 million. If it were a few $100,000, I might grit my teeth and do it. But 10 million? How do you have the nerve to even ask me that? Leo took the verbal lashing, but didn't give up. But what about your father-in-law? I would rather be beaten to death by my father-in-law than give you $10 million. That settled it. With Ethan putting it like that, what more could Leo say? In that moment, he realized that neither of them had it easy. All right, back to business, Ethan said, then paused. Wait, what were we just talking about? The question made Leo's mind go blank. Right, they were talking about business. How had they gotten so sidetracked? That's how it was with guys. Conversations would always drift off into completely random topics. I forgot. Anyway, that guy tonight is probably going to try and kill me. So what do we do? Ethan asked. Just the two of us doesn't seem very safe. Who said it's just the two of us? Leo grinned mischievously. Have you forgotten how I handled fights back in high school? Ethan fell silent. 2.5 hours later, in a restaurant in Westlake City, Lucia Shang stared at Leo, her face a cold mask. She pinched the bridge of her nose and let out a long, weary sigh. So, you want me to bring BSO agents tonight to help you catch this guy? Exactly. Leo beamed. I thought it over, and I decided this is a job for Inspector Shang. That way, it's all official and above board. Ethan sat beside them, his head bowed, not daring to speak. Lucia shot him a fierce glare. If Leo hadn't been there, she would have climbed on top of Ethan and beaten him senseless. I worked my ass off for days just to have a date with you. And what happens? Not only is the date canceled, but now I have more work to do. It was like getting a call from your boss on the first day of vacation, telling you to come back to the office. The worst part was, she had to do it. Based on Leo's description, the man they were meeting tonight was definitely an important figure. And it involved Dr. Quentin Marks. Remembering her father's instructions, Lucia bit her lip. She knew that, no matter what, she couldn't let this person get away tonight. Fine, Lucia sighed. I'll bring a BSO team to back you up tonight. That's fantastic. Leo was overjoyed. He laid on the praise thick. I knew it. When you're in trouble, the Westlake City BSO is the one to call. It's thanks to you all that this city is so safe and harmonious. You're a model for all the other bureaus. He kicked Ethan under the table. What are you spacing out for? Get Inspector Shang some water. Ethan looked up, his eyes meeting Lucia's. A shiver ran down his spine. He could tell she was in a very bad mood. It was up to him, the boyfriend, to smooth things over. Lucia, you must be thirsty. Have some water. Ethan chuckled sheepishly, getting up to pour her a glass. He used the opportunity to lean in and whisper in her ear. I swear, this was a complete accident. It's all Leo's fault for dragging me into his messes. Otherwise, I would have been out with you this morning. Lucia glanced at him and snorted. They were supposed to have a happy, relaxing day together. Instead, she'd been getting messages from him all day. First wait till noon, then wait till the afternoon. And now, He called her over to give her overtime. Any girlfriend would be furious. She shot a glare at Leo, too. Since he had arrived, Ethan had spent more time with him than with her. If it weren't for the fact that Ethan was straight and Leo had a girlfriend, Lucia would have started to suspect there was something strange going on between the two of them. The three of them were eating in a restaurant. The meet was scheduled for 8 o'clock, but it was only 6 now. They still had time. Lucia Shang had already called the Bureau of Syndicate Oversight and arranged everything. All they had to do was wait for their target to walk into the trap. Ethan, Xie, and Lucia sat side by side, the meal feeling a little awkward. The reason for their discomfort sat directly across from them. Leo Evans, stuffing his face with gusto. With a giant third wheel planted at their table, any thoughts Lucia had of a little intimacy were just that, thoughts. Ethan shot daggers at Leo, wishing he could just stab him and be done with it. Did the guy have zero social awareness? Couldn't he just sit at his own table? Ethan made a mental note. Once this was over, he was going to tell Leo to get as far away from him as possible. Don't even come close. The sight of him was irritating. While the trio ate, Donovan Vance, dressed in black, stepped out of the Westlake City Central Station, melting into the bustling crowd. Despite his attempt to blend in, the unique aura he projected still turned heads. Scattered among the travelers were his own men, elite soldiers from the Vance Dominion he had brought all the way from New York City. They moved through the crowd like ordinary passengers, unnoticed, their steps casual. But a closer look would reveal they were subtly orbiting Donovan, forming a protective perimeter. At the first sign of trouble, they could intervene and ensure his safety. Stepping out of the station, Donovan scanned the area, his gaze quickly locking onto a black sedan. He turned slightly, speaking in a low voice to a man beside him. You all disperse. Keep a low profile. Don't let that old fox director, Shang, know you're here. Yes, Mr. Vance. With that, Donovan walked toward the car. The driver's side door opened, and a man got out. It was Zeke Foam. Mr. Vance, allow me, Zeke said, taking Donovan's luggage and placing it in the trunk. The two then got into the car. Mr. Vance, I didn't expect you to come in person, Zeke said, watching him in the rearview mirror. The old man places a great deal of importance on Dr. Marks. There could be no mistakes this time, Donovan said, leaning back in the rear seat and closing his eyes. What's the status on Marks's location? As you instructed, we've had people searching all over Westlake City. We now believe there's a high probability that Dr. Marks is hiding at Westlake University, Zeke reported as he drove. Also, I got a bite on the bait I put out. He wants to negotiate, though. I'll lean on him tonight. Should be able to get Dr. Marks's exact location then. Negotiate? Donovan let out a soft laugh. What kind of terms did he propose? I almost laughed when he said it, Zeke said with a grin. The guy had the balls to ask for $1 million. A classic case of more greed than sense. $1 million? Donovan found it amusing as well. After a moment, he spoke again, his tone flat. Once you have the information, dispose of him. Leave no trace. Don't worry, Mr. Vance. I know the drill. Zeke paused, then added, the turnoff is just ahead. Are we going to the hotel first? No. Donovan opened his eyes. Go to the Thorne estate first. I need to see Mason Thorne. Zeke nodded, turning the steering wheel and merging into the lane heading toward the Thorne property. Cole and Kate are here, I assume. They arrived last night. They nearly scared Mason Thorne to death. Zeke chuckled, picturing Thorne's face when he saw the two of them. It wasn't just Thorne. Even Zeke had been startled. He hadn't expected Donovan to deploy those two. The thought of Cole and Cade working together made his scalp tingle. One was a marksman whose skills with a rifle were almost supernatural, far surpassing even Rose. The other was a master of cold weapons, his close-quarters combat always unpredictable, always a one-hit kill. One close range, one long range, both at the absolute pinnacle of their respective fields. Zeke couldn't imagine a more formidable duo. Mr. Vance, did you bring them here to deal with the BSO? No, Donovan said slowly. To deal with Leo Evans. Leo Evans? Zeke was shocked. Wasn't that massive overkill? Donovan saw the doubt in Zeke's eyes. Don't underestimate him, he said coolly. Because of him, my entire operation in Ethelberg was a total failure. And besides, there's something about him that's just unnatural. If I don't eliminate him, I'll never shake this feeling of unease. That unnatural? Zeke frowned. In his view, Leo's strength was, at best, a little better than Rose's. And he was just one guy. What kind of trouble could he really stir up? But since Donovan had said so, he couldn't argue. He was just an employee. Donovan paid. He put his life on the line. It was that simple. Mr. Vance, We're here. From a distance, Zeke saw a figure standing outside the gates of the Thorn estate. It was Cade. Knowing Donovan was coming, he had come out early to greet him. Once the car stopped, Donovan opened his door and stepped out. Zeke turned back. Mr. Vance, I won't be coming in. I'm going to get the information from our contact. Donovan gave a slight nod. Be careful. The moment you confirm DR, marks his location, report to me. Click. The door shut. After Cade took Donovan's luggage, Zeke stomped on the gas and sped towards Centennial Park. He went alone, without backup. In his mind, the person he was about to meet was just some street punk. He could take on 10 guys like that without breaking a sweat. His rank as 10th on the Hero Index wasn't for show. It's been a while since I got to stretch my legs. Tonight, that kid will be a good warm-up. I hope he brought friends. Just one person won't be nearly enough to satisfy me. Zeke cracked his neck, a cruel smile spreading across his lips as he raced down the road. He was starting to get excited. What Zeke didn't know was that he wouldn't be facing just one person. At that very moment, BSO agents had Centennial Park completely surrounded. They were just waiting for him to walk into their net. Leo was sitting alone on a park bench in the center of the square, bored out of his mind. So, he fired up a round of TFT on his phone. He got 8th place. Again, Leo gritted his teeth, glaring at his screen. TCH, I swear, I can't stand another day of set 11. Bring on set 12. All units, report any suspicious individuals immediately. Hidden in the shadows, Lucia Shang issued orders to the BSO agents over the comms. Centennial Park was now swarming with their plainclothes officers. The area around Leo was especially dense with personnel. They were just waiting for their target to spring the trap. Ethan Xia was also hiding nearby. His identity was too sensitive. If the target recognized him, he might bolt. Night fell. The longer Leo sat on the bench, the more bored he became. Where is he? Centennial Park was basically abandoned, with hardly anyone around at night. It was the perfect, isolated spot for a clandestine meeting, which was exactly why Zeke had chosen it. Report. Black sedan spotted 300 meters out. Destination appears to be our location. The update instantly put everyone on high alert. Sure enough, a moment later, a black sedan pulled up to the park entrance. Zeke's phone got out. All units, be advised, we have a possible positive ID on the target. In an instant, every hidden BSO agent fixed their eyes on Zeke. He stood at the entrance, not rushing in. Instead, he pulled out his phone and made a call. At the same time, the burner phone in Leo's pocket, the one belonging to Chun, started ringing. Oh, showtime. Leo raised an eyebrow, took out the phone, and pitched his voice to imitate Chen's as he answered. Hello, you here? I'm at the entrance. Where are you? Zeke asked in a low voice. You bring the money? Zeke glanced at his empty hands, his expression unchanging. Brought it. 1 million. Cash. You brought a banana peel? You liar, Leo cursed silently. The agents had already told him through his earpiece that the target had arrived empty-handed. The ball's on this guy, lying so smoothly. Still, Leo played along. All right, head toward the Central Plaza. I'm sitting on a bench here. You alone? Zeke asked with a sinister laugh. It's a lot of cash. I'm worried you can't carry it all by yourself. Don't you worry about that, Leo replied, his voice equally sinister. I brought people. A lot of people. Is that so? Well, that's a relief. Zeke's heart pounded with excitement. This was exactly what he wanted. What was the fun in killing just one person? The more, the merrier. Zeke hung up, glanced around, and then started walking into the park. Right now, all he cared about was the information on Dr. Marks. Was he really at Westlake University? If so, where exactly? Suppressing his curiosity, he walked step by step toward the Central Plaza. All units, maintain distance. Don't let him spot you. Wait until he's inside the kill box to move. Move on Leo's signal. If the target makes any sudden moves, open fire. Leo's safety is the priority. Try to take him alive. Lucia issued her commands with methodical precision. Leo put the phone away, held his breath, and watched a small path in the distance. He pulled a black face mask over his nose and mouth and tugged down a baseball cap. Lucia had insisted on it to prevent the target from getting suspicious. If the guy was cautious and saw it wasn't Chun, he might just turn and run. Lucia, Leo had to admit, was much better with details than most of the grunts he knew. No wonder she made director at such a young age. She had the goods. Soon, Zeke's figure appeared around a bend in the path. Seeing Leo, his face completely covered, Zeke paused, frowning slightly. The next second, Leo casually brought a hand to his throat and, using his feigned voice, called out, "Come on, there's no one else around." Hearing Chen's voice confirmed it. The wariness that had pricked at Zeke instantly vanished. He chided himself for being so jumpy. The guy was just covering his face. No need to be paranoid. On second thought, it made sense. The guy was extorting him. Of course, he wouldn't want to show his face. With that, Zeke started walking toward Leo again. In the shadows, Lucia let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. For a second there, when Zeke had stopped, she thought they were made. Luckily, Leo's voice mimicry had dispelled his suspicion. Leo watched Zeke approach. "Where's my money?" he asked, playing his part. "What's the rush?" Zeke said playfully as he got closer. "The money's in the car. Give me the info first, then I'll give you the cash." He looked around. "You said you brought people. Where are they?" The large plaza was empty, except for the two of them. They're in the shadows. Can't be too careful, you know, in case you decided to double-cross me." Leo chuckled. "Before I tell you anything, you have to tell me why you're looking for Dr. Marks. Why do you care?" Zeke frowned. "And why are you holding your hand over your neck?" Seeing you've been noticed, Leo decided to drop the act. He could just interrogate the guy after they captured him, anyway. Leo raised his hand and slowly snapped his fingers. Snap, click, clack, thump. Dozens of BSO agents materialized from all directions, surrounding them. Every single one of them was holding a gun, every barrel pointed directly at Zeke. "What?" Zeke stared around in disbelief, his eyes wide with shock. What was happening? Why were BSO agents here? In that moment, Zeke's heart sank into an icy pit. He didn't know how he'd been exposed, but he knew there was no escape. He may be 10th on the Hero Index, but in this situation, not even number 1 could get out of this. It looked like the entire damn BSO had shown up. "Ha!" Leo let out a long breath, his voice returning to normal. "I was going to do this the easy way, but since you're so uncooperative, we'll have to do it the hard way." As he spoke, he pulled off his mask and cap. The moment his face was revealed, Zeke's pupils constricted. He gasped, "Leo Evans, how can it be you?" Suddenly, Donovan's words from the car echoed in his mind. "There's something about him that's just unnatural." Zeke took a deep breath. He had dismissed the comment at the time, but now, faced with dozens of guns and the smirk on Leo's face, he finally understood what Donovan meant. This wasn't just unnatural. This was Unnatural's entire screwed-up family throwing a reunion party. "Leo Evans, why is it you?" "Oh, you know me." Leo was surprised to hear the man say his name. Good thing he'd listened to Lucia and covered his face. If the guy had seen him from the start, he probably would have bolted. "Well, this is interesting. Not many people know me here in Westlake City." Leo looked Zeke over with amusement. "Let me guess. You're with the Thorns." Zeke's face remained impassive. "The Vance Dominion, then?" Zeke's eyebrow twitched almost imperceptibly. Leo knew he'd hit the mark. "So you are with the Vances. Donovan sent you?" Zeke's eyes flickered again. Another hit. "Leo, are you okay?" From a distance, Lucia and Ethan were walking over, calling out to him. Seeing them, an idea sparked in Zeke's mind. He was only a step away from Leo, and from the way Lucia was acting, Leo was clearly important to them. If he could grab him, take him hostage, could he get out of this? At this distance, with his skills as the 10th-ranked assassin on the Hero Index, taking down one kid should be child's play. No sooner had the thought formed than he acted. A black dagger appeared in his hand as he lunged forward, closing the distance to Leo. "Damn it. Leo, look out." Lucia cursed. She saw Zeke's intention instantly. Leo was being too careless. If he got taken hostage, this would all turn into a disaster. She silently berated Leo for not moving away from the target immediately. At this range, they couldn't risk a shot without hitting him. While Lucia's mind raced for a solution, the scene before her made her eyes go wide, freezing her in place. What just happened? She had blinked, and in that instant, Leo had somehow subdued the man. In the distance, Leo had Zeke's arms pinned, forcing him to the ground. The dagger that had been in Zeke's hand was now in Leo's, its blade pressed firmly against Zeke's throat. It wasn't just Lucia who was stunned. Zeke was completely bewildered. What the hell happened? How did my dagger suddenly end up in his hand? "Tisish, not bad luck," Leo chuckled. The moment Zeke had moved, he'd activated Phantom Flow. He thought it would take some effort, but on a whim, he had also used dirty hands. And he'd stolen Zeke's dagger. Then, while Zeke was still reeling from the shock, Leo had taken him down. "Cuff him," Lucia ordered. A few BSO agents moved in and rewarded Zeke with a new pair of silver bracelets. Even now, Zeke's head was spinning. He, the 10th-ranked assassin on the index, had been taken down just like that, without a single casualty on their side. What about his reputation? "Leo Evans, if you got any guts, let me go. Let's go one-on-one." He couldn't accept it. He couldn't believe he had lost to Leo so easily. Even Rose had been able to trade a few blows with him. but he'd been taken down in a single exchange. Did that mean he was even weaker than Rose? Zeke couldn't stand the thought. Leo, if you're a man, let's fight for real. Take him back for interrogation. Tonight. Lucia cut him off. Zeke was dragged away. Just then, an agent approached. Director Shang, we tracked the car's route via surveillance. We have a major discovery. He picked someone up from Central Station 2 hours ago, dropped him off at the Thorn Estate, and then drove straight here. We've run a check. The person he picked up was Donovan Vance of the Vance Dominion in New York City. At that, Leo's ears perked up, his eyes shining. Donovan Vance was in Westlake City. Seeing Leo's expression, Ethan had a bad feeling. So you're saying Donovan is at the Thorn Estate right now? Leo asked excitedly. If he hasn't left, he should still be there, the agent replied. Ethan quickly pulled Leo into an empty corner. What are you thinking? He hissed. Leo shot back. I'm thinking it. Ethan blinked. Are you insane? That's the Thorn Estate. And, without a proper reason, the BSO can't just go through official channels to arrest someone in there. So we don't go through official channels, Leo said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. You and me, we sneak into the Thorn Estate, and we take care of Donovan. Leo drew a finger across his throat. Ethan sucked in a sharp breath. He couldn't believe the size of this guy's balls. You think you can pull that off? That's why you're here, right? Leo grinned. The two of us together? Who could possibly stop us? Ethan's head was pounding. He should have known nothing good ever came out of Leo's mouth. Don't worry, old friend. I've got your back. If things go south, we can still get out. Does he have to die? He has to die. Leo's expression was dead serious. The Vance Dominion had been harassing him for too long. If he didn't eliminate the threat completely, it wasn't just him. Ava and the others would be in danger too. The opportunity was right in front of him. He wasn't going to let it go. Seeing the look in Leo's eyes, Ethan sighed deeply. I must have owed you in a past life. Hearing that, Leo knew Ethan had agreed. But Lucia can't know about this, Ethan said firmly. If she finds out, she'll never let us go. She might even arrest us on the spot. Leo nodded. He saw Lucia and her team finishing up, getting ready to head back for the interrogation. Director Shang, wait up, Leo called out. He glanced at Ethan, then walked over. What is it? Lucia asked, puzzled. Well, about that. I need to borrow a gun, Leo said, scratching his head, a little embarrassed. If he was going to the Thorn Estate, a gun would give him a better chance. After all, his phantom flow skill was much less effective without one. What do you need a gun for? Lucia frowned. For self-defense, you know. Leo smiled. You saw what just happened. I was almost taken hostage. Besides, given my status with the BSO, asking for a gun isn't too much, is it? Lucia gave him a suspicious look. He had a point, but something felt off. Fine, but I'm warning you, don't stir up any trouble. After a stern warning, she got a pistol and some ammunition from a subordinate and handed them to Leo. Hey, am I the kind of guy who stirs up trouble? Leo took the gun with a grin. Don't you worry, Director. I promise this gun will be used for its intended purpose. I won't waste a single bullet. Lucia stared at him, her face blank. You'd better not, she said flatly. As she was leaving, Lucia asked them, I have to head back to the bureau for the interrogation. Where are you two headed? Home, Leo and Ethan said in perfect unison. Lucia frowned, looking at them suspiciously. Something felt off, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. Do you need an escort? She asked. Nope, they chorused again, lying through their teeth. Ethan felt a small pang of guilt for deceiving Lucia, but he had no choice. If she knew what they were planning, she would have cuffed them on the spot and dragged them back with her. Watching Lucia's car drive away, Ethan hung his head and sighed deeply. If she ever finds out about this, she's going to kill me. T6, look at you, so pathetic, Leo said disdainfully. Is that all the power you have in your relationship? If my Ava were here and dared to say no to me, she'd be in for it when we got home. Old friend, compared to me, you've still got a long way to go. Ethan ignored him completely. Leo could only talk big like that when Ava wasn't around, just to fool himself. Ethan was certain that if Ava were actually there, Leo wouldn't dare make a peep. Let's go, time's wasting. Hold on, I need to buy a mask first. Ethan had to cover up completely. His identity absolutely could not be revealed, mostly because he was terrified of word getting back to Lucia. He didn't have enough lives to spare for that. So, the two of them went to a convenience store and bought a brand new blackface mask. Leaving the store, Leo glanced around. How are we getting there? Your car or mine? Are you an idiot? You want them to trace our identities right back to us. Then what? We're not walking, are we? It's still early. The last bus should be running. A few minutes later, the two of them were sitting on a bench at a bus stop, waiting for the route that went to the Thorn Estate. Ethan felt he had never been so utterly exasperated in his life. Two guys, about to infiltrate the Thorne family stronghold to pull off a hit, were sitting here like losers waiting for city bus. His original plan for the evening had been a simple, ordinary date. The source of all this chaos. Ethan shot a deadpan look at Leo. Ever since this guy had shown up in Westlake City, he hadn't had a single normal day. It was either a fight or on the way to one. And now an assassination. The thought made Ethan clutch his head in agony. How did my life turn into this? Come on, Ethan, the bus is here. Leo pulled on his mask and patted Ethan's shoulder. Ethan took a deep breath and, with a sense of grim resignation, followed Leo onto the bus. It was too late to turn back now. Once on board, Ethan's mood soured even more. There were no seats. They had to stand. An hour later, they arrived near the Thorne estate. Leo, maybe we should call this off, Ethan said, his nerve finally failing him. This was the Thorne family, a syndicate with power equal to his own CF family. How could the two of them possibly take them on? TCH, what are you scared of? We're not going for a head-on assault, Leo said, checking his gun. Our mission is an assassination. We sneak in, take out the target, and get out. Quick and easy. Besides, we're already here. Turning back now would be idiotic. Relax, I've got experience with this kind of thing. Just follow my lead. Ethan's mouth twitched. Leo's words did nothing to comfort him. In fact, they made him even more worried. And why the hell do you have experience with this kind of thing? While the two of them were making their preparations outside, inside the Thorne estate, Donovan Vance was sitting on a sofa, staring at his phone with a frown. What's taking so long? He was waiting for word from Zeke. By all accounts, he should have gotten the information by now. Did something go wrong? Or maybe the informant didn't have the information in the first place and was just stringing Zeke along. Donovan leaned toward the first possibility. Even if the informant had nothing, Zeke wouldn't have just gone completely silent. Mason Thorne sat across from Donovan, a strange expression on his face. He felt that Donovan's current state was eerily similar to his own a while back. After he'd hired those 7 assassins to kill Leo Evans, he too had stared at his phone, riddled with anxiety. And the next day, the BSO had shown up at his door. The thought made Mason speak up cautiously. Mr. Vance, could something have happened to Zeke? Donovan shook his head slightly. It's hard to say. Zeke is 10th on the Hero Index. With his abilities, no matter what happened, he should have been able to send a message. That's why this is so strange. I can't figure out what could have possibly happened to cut him off completely. Could it have been the BSO? Mason guessed. If it was the Bureau, it's possible they could have done it. The BSO. Donovan's frown deepened. If it was them, they certainly have the capability, but it makes no sense. How would they have known where Zeke was going? Unless they had an ambush set up in advance. There's no way they could have stopped him from even sending a message. No matter how he looked at it, the whole situation felt unnatural. Wait. Donovan's eyes glinted. Unnatural? There was only one person he could associate with that word. Leo Evans. Could it be him again? I've told you a million times. Call me the Burrito King. At that moment, Leo and Ethan had already slipped inside the estate grounds. Leo was glaring at Ethan, clearly displeased. If you just use my real name, what's the point of wearing these masks? I told you, call signs during the operation. Got it, Captain Edgeblade. Captain Edgeblade? Ethan was dumbfounded by the nickname. Was this guy always this terrible at naming things? Listen, here's the plan. Leo pulled Ethan into a hidden corner. You wait here outside. I'll go in and scout the situation. Once I've taken care of Donovan, I'll run out and you'll provide cover. Got it. Ethan nodded, then looked at Leo, waiting for the rest. After a long silence, seeing that Leo had nothing more to say, Ethan asked, bewildered, That's it? That's your whole plan? What else would there be? Leo was equally baffled. Aren't plans supposed to be simple and direct? Ethan slapped his forehead and sighed. Was it too late to leave? You wait here for my good news. In a corner, Leo finished his instructions and turned to leave alone. Ethan sighed, leaning against the wall and watching Leo's retreating figure with a hint of worry. His current position was very close to an exit from the Thorne estate. If anything went wrong, he could escape in an instant. This was why Leo had told him to wait here. If something did happen, Leo could just shout from a distance, and Ethan could turn and run. After all, he was the one who had dragged Ethan into this. The last thing Leo wanted was for him to get hurt because of his personal grudge. Mostly because he was afraid of what Lucia would do to him afterward. Leo cautiously made his way to a familiar spot and looked up. Just as he expected, Melina Thorne's window was still open. "Tisich, you can always count on our dear sister Melina," Leo muttered sarcastically, then moved with practiced ease. He scaled the wall and slipped through the window in one fluid motion. However, just as he completed the maneuver, Cade, who had been resting on a lounge chair on the roof with his eyes closed, slowly opened them. A noise. Even though Leo had been extremely careful, making only the faintest of sounds, Cade's sharp senses had caught a trace of something amiss. He stood up and looked down, but saw nothing. My imagination? He frowned slightly. After scanning the surroundings and finding nothing unusual, Cade returned to his chair and closed his eyes again. Meanwhile, inside Melina's room, she was staring at Leo with wide, furious eyes, looking as if she wanted to murder him. Because, once again, his hand was clamped over her mouth. Leo took off his mask and let out a quiet breath, glancing upward with a flicker of fear. He had also sensed Cade's presence. In his phantom flow state, his perception was greatly enhanced. The moment Cade had stood up, Leo had held his breath, minimizing his presence to almost nothing. As I thought, Leo mused, if Donovan dared to come to Westlake City, he wouldn't come without top-tier bodyguards. This made his plan to assassinate Donovan much more difficult. MMPH. MMPH. With the mask off, Melina recognized Leo and tried to speak. Sure. Leo pressed a finger to his lips, signaling her to be quiet. Melina slowly nodded. Seeing this, Leo released her and walked to the window, gently closing it. T6, we meet again, Miss Melina Thorne, Leo said with a smile, his eyes casually glancing at the table. A beautifully crafted lantern flower sat there. When he'd entered, Melina had been staring at it in a daze, so lost in thought she hadn't even noticed him first. What are you doing here again? Melina asked, watching him warily. She hadn't forgotten how he'd used explosives to intimidate her and trick her into giving up information. Don't be so tense, Leo said calmly. I'm not here for your family this time. Melina looked at him, her expression full of disbelief. In her eyes, Leo's credibility score was deep in the negative. Leo saw right through her. He sighed. Donovan Vance. He's in your house right now, isn't he? Are you going to kill him? Melina asked without hesitation. I can help you. Leo blinked. Something's not right with you, kid. All he'd asked was if Donovan was there, and she sounded like she couldn't wait for the man to die. You have a personal grudge against him, too. Leo asked, puzzled. Isn't he your family's backer? Melina bit her lips silent. In her mind, the reason the Thorne family was in this position, the reason she was now standing against Ethan Sia, was all because of the Vance Dominion. It was all because of Donovan. So, if Donovan died, would that mean they wouldn't have to go to war with the Sia family? Leo lowered his gaze, looking at Melina with a conflicted expression. If she could really help him, it might save a lot of trouble. But if he failed, Melina would surely face a terrible fate. Thinking of this, Leo sighed inwardly. Better not to involve the girl. It would be hard enough to explain things to Ethan as it was. Just tell me where Donovan is right now, Leo said, then paused. Don't get involved in anything else. If anyone asks, just say I forced you. Understand? Hearing this, Melina grew anxious. I can do more to help. I don't need it. Leo cut her off. Tell me his location, then go back to what you were doing. Act as if I was never here. Melina looked down, her hands clenching the hem of her clothes. After a long moment, she spoke. Donovan is in the study right now. My father is with him. Just the two of them, no one else. There's one other person. I heard his name is Cole. He's responsible for Donovan's security. Where's the study? First floor. Go down from here, turn left in the main hall. Melina gave him detailed directions to the study, and also pointed out the usual locations of the household staff. Leo listened, committing the valuable information to memory. That's all I can tell you. All right, I got it. You stay in this room. No matter what happens, don't come out. After saying this, Leo stood up, ready to move. But Melina called out to him again. Has Ethan mentioned me at all in the last couple of days? The question gave Leo a massive headache. He wanted to scream at her. Sister, can you please stop thinking about that guy? What's so great about Ethan C anyway? He made it crystal clear, but you're still hung up on him. Are you some kind of simp? Leo took a deep breath, his back to Melina, and uttered a single word. No. Then, without looking back, he left her room. Ethan, this is the last thing I can do for you. Slipping out of the room silently, Leo felt a wave of relief. It was a good thing he didn't have a little sister. If he were in Ethan's shoes, he'd probably die of frustration. No, he hasn't. Melina's disappointment was palpable. She turned back to look at the lantern flower on the table. She just stared at it, lost in thought. Several times she picked it up, ready to throw it away, but couldn't bring herself to do it. Finally, Melina set the flower down and took a coin from her drawer. Staring intently at the coin, she remembered something Ethan had once told her. When you can't decide, flip a coin. If once isn't enough, flip it a few more times. Maybe then you'll know what your heart wants. And once you've decided, don't hesitate. Don't look back. Just keep walking forward. The memory of Ethan's smile, as he said those words, seemed to appear before her. The young woman took a deep breath and whispered, Ethan, I'm going to flip the coin. Whatever the result, I won't hesitate. I won't look back. With that, she tossed the coin into the air. No one knew what heads or tails represented in her heart. But the moment the coin landed, all hesitation and doubt vanished. Inside the Thorn estate, Leo moved with the stealth of a cat. As he passed the kitchen, he even swiped a chicken leg to sample. His verdict, not as good as the CF family chef. There, that must be the study. Following Melina's directions, Leo crept to the study door. It was closed tight, but with his enhanced hearing, he could still make out the conversation inside. Leo listened intently, trying to pinpoint Donovan's position by the sound of his voice. Sound localization. That way, the moment he opened the door, he could go for a one-shot kill. Mr. Vance, Zeke has gone completely silent. What about the information on Dr. Marks? That's not a problem. Zeke isn't the only one looking for him. Donovan's voice replied from within the study. He was sitting on the sofa. My people have essentially confirmed that, Dr. Marks is at Westlake University. What I want is his precise location and what he's been researching all these years. That old man, if we're not careful, he's likely to destroy everything he's worked on. He'd rather see it all burn than let us have it. That's the kind of man he is. So, when dealing with him, we can't use force until it's the absolute last resort. Outside the door, Leo frowned. They already knew Dr. Marks was at WLU? Did Director Jensen know? Or was this information that Jensen's people had deliberately leaked? Leo was stumped. Jensen had been clear. Stay out of anything related to Dr. Marks. That meant Jensen definitely had a plan in place. Is he trying to use Dr. Marks as bait to lure in a big fish like the Vance Dominion? Leo guessed. Just then, Mason Thorne spoke up from inside the room. In that case, Mr. Vance, when does the Thorne family make its move? Tomorrow, Donovan said, his voice hard as steel. The sooner, the better. We have to hit the CF family when they least expect it. I have a bad feeling about this. The longer we delay, the more disadvantageous it could be for us. Tomorrow. Mason was shocked. But that's just as rushed for us. Mr. Vance, with all due respect, if we move tomorrow, I'm not confident we can take down the CF family. Our preparations are far from complete. It doesn't matter, Donovan said coolly. My Vance Dominion forces will assist you. Kate will be there as well. If you still can't take down the CIEs with that kind of support, then you know the consequences. Mason's entire body trembled. He knew that if he failed, the Thorne family was finished. He nodded heavily. Very well. With such significant support from you, Mr. Vance, I am certain I can defeat the CF family tomorrow. With the Vances and a powerhouse like Cade on his side, a surprise attack tomorrow gave him the confidence to crush that old man, Mr. CF. Tomorrow, they would blitz the CF family. Outside the door, Leo swallowed hard. Holy crap. He had just stumbled onto something huge. Was this information he was supposed to hear for free? If he went back now and told Mr. CF, the Thorne family would be in for a world of hurt tomorrow. But Leo had no intention of leaving just yet. He hadn't finished his real business. He was here for one reason and one reason only, to kill Donovan Vance. At that thought, Leo's eyes turned to ice, his entire demeanor shifting. He was an assassin. He had no emotions. By now, Leo had pinpointed Donovan's general location. It was time to make his move. His hand went to his waist, slowly drawing the pistol Lucia had given him. Taking a deep breath, Leo's eyes hardened as he threw his full weight into a kick against the door. Crack! The door flew off its hinges, startling the three men inside. Who's there? Mason shouted. Donovan shot to his feet, staring at the doorway in shock. A figure in a black mask was leveling a dark pistol right at him. Cole reacted first. With incredible speed, he drew his own weapon and aimed at Leo. At the same time, knowing it was too late to tell Donovan to get down, he lashed out with a powerful kick, sending Donovan flying sideways just as Leo pulled the trigger. Bang! Because of Cole's kick, Donovan's position had shifted. The bullet meant for his heart slammed into his shoulder instead. Arc! The impact sent a searing pain through Donovan, and he cried out. Bang! 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 Without hesitation, Cole fired 3 shots at Leo, but they all whizzed past him. The moment Leo saw Cole move, he knew the man was a pro. So after firing his one shot, he didn't even check to see if it had hit. He just turned and ran. Shit, he's a cheater. Leo was speechless. Those 3 shots told him everything. This guy Cole was at least as skilled as he was. A total hacker. Leo was in his phantom flow state. Even Rose would be hopelessly outmatched. But Cole could keep up with him. If that wasn't cheating, what was? Leo was already regretting his decision. Damn it, I was too reckless. Ping. Host has triggered a mission. Mission content. Survive for the next 24 hours. Mission completion will grant a random skill reward. Ping my ass. Thanks a lot for reminding me to survive right now. Despite his inner monologue, Leo knew he was in deep trouble. The system wouldn't have issued a mission like this otherwise. Leo kicked open the main doors of the Thorn estate and ran for his life. Cole, get him! Donovan clutched his bleeding shoulder, his eyes fixed on Leo's retreating back. No matter what, I want him caught. He didn't need to say it. Cole was already in motion. At the same time, Mason Thorn snapped out of his shock, scrambled under his desk, and slammed an alarm button. The entire estate erupted in blaring sirens. Every Thorn family member knew they had an intruder. Instantly, Thorn family soldiers and Cole were all chasing Leo. Shit, they have an alarm system. Leo's eyes went wide. This was bad. Bang, bang. Behind him, Cole kept firing, each shot anticipating Leo's movements. It was exhausting. Leo had to constantly adjust his trajectory to avoid getting riddled with bullets. In the distance, Ethan heard the alarm and froze. What happened? Did Leo get caught? He got his answer a second later. Leo was sprinting toward him, a grimace on his face. Behind him was a massive swarm of pursuers and a hail of gunfire. Leo weaved and dodged, desperately running for his life. Luckily, besides Cole, the Thorn family grunts couldn't keep up with his speed, or he'd already be Swiss cheese. Spotting Ethan, Leo yelled, "They're too strong, fall back." Leo was only halfway through his shout when Ethan, without a second glance, turned and sprinted away. As Ethan ran, he cursed every one of Leo's ancestors. I told you to call it off. You just had to do it. Now look at this. He glanced back at the dense mob of pursuers and sucked in a breath. He swore an oath. If he ever teamed up with Leo again, he was a dog. Who could handle this much stress? Shit, what an idiot. Ethan could see that the man chasing Leo was good. He was tying Leo down, preventing him from breaking away. At this rate, Ethan could escape, but Leo would inevitably be surrounded by the Thorn family forces. Ethan frowned, skidding to a halt. His hand slipped inside his jacket, fingers closing around the familiar grips of his throwing knives. Get down, he roared at Leo. In the next instant, Ethan spun around, 4 knives flying from his hand. The black blades were nearly invisible in the night as they sliced through the air, aimed directly at Cole. The moment he heard Ethan's voice, Leo had already hit the dirt. Cole's attention was entirely focused on Leo. When he heard Ethan shout, he assumed a shot was coming. He braced himself, but heard no gunshot. Puzzled, he suddenly saw a glint of steel flash before his eyes. Not good. Cole's eyes widened, and he cursed under his breath. He hadn't expected knives, not a gun. Silent and deadly. The blades were almost on him. Sweat beaded on Cole's forehead. He threw himself backward, bending at the waist as he dodged. The 4 knives grazed his body, leaving 4 shallow cuts. Cole let out a breath and quickly righted himself, about to counterattack when his eyes widened in horror. In the distance, a small smile played on Ethan's lips. I have 5 knives, you know, he muttered. The 5th knife, hidden behind the first 4, was now right between Cole's eyes as he stood up. Can't dodge it. Cole knew, in his heart, that he couldn't avoid this one. For a moment, his mind went blank. Is this it? Am I going to die here today? Me, 5th on the Harrow Index, killed by some no-name knife thrower? Bang! A gunshot rang out. The knife in front of Cole's face was knocked out of the air by a bullet. Cole gasped for air, staring at the knife on the ground, his eyes filled with lingering fear. He turned, looking in the direction the shot had come from. Cade. On the roof, Cade, holding a sniper rifle, gave Cole a little wave. He was the one who had fired the shot that saved Cole's life. Then his smile vanished. He pressed his eye to the scope, acquiring his new targets. Nice one, Ethan. Leo had already reached Ethan's side, and the two were now sprinting for the exit. That knife trick was insane. Hit him with a few more of those, and he's dead meat. Shut up. Ethan yelled back at Leo. That's all I have. I threw all 5. When am I supposed to get more? Leo was stunned. You mean, they're one-time use? Yes. Then why didn't you bring more? Who the hell knew I'd need them? Ethan shot back. I've never once used them in the field since I learned. That was the first time. If I knew you were going to pull a stunt this big, I would have brought a whole damn crate. Leo went silent. What else was there to say? Just run. You're not getting away. On the roof, Cade had Leo in his sights. All he had to do was pull the trigger, and it would all be over. Cole, knowing Cade's skill, slowed his pursuit. With sniper support, their escape was impossible. From the moment Cade appeared, their fate was sealed. Cade watched Leo through his scope, a small smile on his lips. Time to end this. His fingers slowly squeezed the trigger. Bang! A gunshot echoed, but Leo didn't fall. He kept running as if nothing had happened. Cole froze. What was going on? What was Cade doing? On the roof, Cade stared blankly at the bullet hole in the roof tiles in front of him. He swallowed hard. Someone had just shot at him. Who? Cade frantically scanned the area, but he couldn't tell which direction the shot had come from. Cade, what are you doing? Cole yelled from the distance. They're getting away. Cade snapped out of it and raised his rifle again. But before his eye even reached the scope, another bullet whizzed past, this time grazing his hair. Cade froze on the spot. After a few seconds, he decisively lowered his rifle. Even an idiot would understand the message behind those two shots. Someone in the shadows was warning him. If he dared to shoot at Leo Evans, he would be the one to die first. Who is it? Who could it be? Cade knelt on the roof, unmoving, his mind racing through a list of every operative with that kind of skill. A shot from an unknown direction, creating this level of psychological pressure from his shadows alone. In my memory, only one person can do that. The #1 assassin on the Hero Index. The Ghost. The thought sent a wave of cold sweat down Cade's back. It can't be him. How could it be him? He's supposed to be dead. They said they found his body after the Manhattan incident. But besides the Ghost, Cade couldn't think of anyone else who could instill such overwhelming pressure. Damn it, Cade. What the hell are you doing? Cole swore. If Cade didn't shoot, Leo would escape. He had no idea Cade was now as docile as a chick, too terrified to move. Move, and you die. He wanted to scream back at Cole. You try it. It's easy to talk tough when you're not the one being targeted by the Ghost. Cade completely ignored Cole's shouts, able only to watch as Leo and Ethan escaped from the Thorn estate. The moment the two of them were gone, Cade felt the pressure on him lift. The suffocating presence that had drenched him in sweat was gone. He's gone. Cade cautiously looked around. When no more bullets came his way, he let out a long sigh of relief. Donovan and Mason Thorn had also come out. Seeing that Leo had escaped, Donovan didn't blame Cole. Instead, he turned to Mason. Master Thorn, I suspect that man was Leo Evans. Have your men search the entire city. He must be found. Leo, do you have to run right next to me? Don't be a baby. You don't even have a weapon. If we split up, I'm worried you'll get killed. The odds of me getting killed are way higher if I stick with you. Hey, watch your mouth. I could sue you for slander. In a dark alley outside the Thorn estate, Leo and Ethan were bickering. They had just escaped, but by the time they were about to head back to the Sierra residence, the Thorn family had already mobilized, setting up a perimeter several kilometers wide. They were searching for them. Leo and Ethan peeked their heads out, looking at the Thorn family members combing the streets. Check everywhere. Don't miss a single clue. Orders from Mr. Vance and the Master. Leo Evans couldn't have gotten far. He's somewhere in this area. If you see anyone suspicious, just grab them. No questions asked. First person to spot the target sends coordinates to the group chat. Everyone moves to support immediately. Hearing this, Leo and Ethan silently retracted their heads. Leo was losing his mind. How did they know it was him? He'd worn a mask, but from what that guy just said, it was obvious Donovan and Mason already knew his identity. The mask had been completely useless. Where did he screw up? Leo couldn't figure it out. Ethan? Ethan? Leo frowned, seeing his friend lost in thought. What are you thinking about? Ethan snapped out of it, looked at Leo, then glanced back toward the search parties outside. I was just thinking, maybe they're only looking for you. He stood up, a brow raised, which means they probably don't know my identity. They don't seem very interested in me. So if we split up, my chances of escaping are pretty high. Let go of me. Leo was clutching the hem of Ethan's shirt, his face a mask of disbelief. At a time like this, you're going to abandon your teammate? Your best friend? The partner who just went through life and death with you. Ethan didn't hesitate for a second. He nodded emphatically. You have no heart, Ethan. Yeah. Leo started yelling. You ungrateful bastard. Have you forgotten how good I was to you in high school? Who bought you ice cream when they only had $2 to their name? Who helped you deal with that girl who kept confessing her love to you? Who begged the teacher for mercy when you forgot your homework? Have you forgotten all that? Ethan stared at Leo, his fists clenching. How could he forget? He would never forget any of it for the rest of his life. You really have the nerve to bring that up? Ethan glared at him. That ice cream? You insisted on buying a $4 Klondike bar, so you put $2 on my tab, and I only got one bite. And that girl? I didn't even know about her until someone told me you'd been stealing the breakfast she left for me every morning. That's how you helped me? And you dare mention homework? You borrowed my assignment to copy it, then only brought your own to school and left mine at home. And you still had the gall to ask the teacher to forgive me. The more Ethan spoke, the redder his face became. He pointed a finger at Leo. Leo, for the love of God, just try being a decent human being for once. Leo just blinked, staring back at him without a shred of shame. If he didn't admit it, it never happened. I don't care. I'm getting out of here. You're on your own. Ethan turned to leave, but Leo grabbed his arm. Don't go that way. There are people over there. Leo's expression was grim as he glanced in that direction. His tone became serious. Follow me. I'll get you out. Ethan looked at him skeptically. Leo's credibility score was deep in the negative. But Leo's grip was too strong, and he found himself being dragged along anyway. The two of them went into stealth mode, darting through the city, dodging the Thorne family search parties. But this couldn't last. The search perimeter was shrinking, and they hadn't seen Cole yet. Leo, do you have a plan or not? Ethan asked. I do, Leo said, decisively pulling out his phone. Ethan grew alarmed. What are you doing? What else? Leo said, as if it were obvious. At this point, the only thing we can do is call your dad to come get us. Don't. Ethan quickly stopped him. If my dad finds out, he might mobilize the entire CF family. Then Lucia will find out for sure, and I'll be dead. Leo glanced at him. So, what's it got to do with me? Your lack of power in your own relationship is your problem. As for Ava, he definitely couldn't let her know about this. And even if she did find out, he'd insist that Ethan Sia was the one who dragged him into it. He was innocent. Leo had his story straight. He tapped the screen and called Kane. Back at the Sia residence, Kane saw Leo's name pop up on his screen, and his heart sank. He answered the call with a trembling hand. Before he could even speak, Leo's voice came through. Kane, we're in trouble. Shit. Kane swore out loud. I told you not to cause any trouble. Again, every single time Leo calls, it's always those words. Kane was exhausted. He really wanted to just block Leo's number. What the hell happened this time? All right, I'll make it quick, Leo said. Ethan and I are being hunted by the Thorne family and Donovan Vance. Tell Mr. She had to send people to rescue us, quick. Kane blinked. Dude, you call that making it quick? You left out a hell of a lot of information. Didn't you say you were just going for a walk around Westlake University? How did you go from a walk to being hunted by the Thornes and Donovan Vance? Kane couldn't take it anymore. He punched the air several times in frustration. He desperately wanted to string Leo up and beat him, but he knew the situation was urgent. This was no time for delays. Send me your general location. I'll go find Mr. See you now. Okay. And Kane, one more thing. What now? Don't tell Ava about this. I don't want her to worry. You're afraid she'll beat the crap out of you, right? Kane thought to himself. Got it, he said. He hung up, opened his door, and was about to go find Mr. Sia when he froze. He swallowed hard. He mentally apologized to Leo. Sorry, man. It's not my fault. Looks like you're not getting out of this beating. Kane stood frozen in his doorway. Ava Reed was standing right in front of his room, as if she had been waiting. When she saw him come out, her eyes darted to the phone in his hand. Leo just called you? Let me guess. He's in trouble again. Yeah. Hearing his answer, Ava let out a soft sigh. She knew it. Leo hadn't come back this late, because he was out causing trouble again. He could never stay out of it. Is it dangerous? She asked. Based on what he said, it sounds pretty dangerous. Then what are we waiting for? Ava said, a hint of frustration in her voice. Let's go find Mr. Sia and get help. With that, she grabbed Kane's arm and dragged him off to find Mr. Sia. As much as she wanted to wring Leo's neck, getting him out of danger came first. There would be plenty of opportunities to beat him up later. In the CF family study, Mr. Sia stretched, setting down a file. He was just about to call a night when Ava and Kane burst in without knocking. What's wrong? Mr. Sia was a bit stunned. Seeing them like this gave him a bad feeling. Mr. Sia, there's trouble, Kane said quickly. Leo and Ethan are being hunted by the Thorne family and Donovan Vance's men. They're searching the whole city. Mr. Sia blinked. He stared for a moment, looking from Ava to Kane and back again. After a few seconds, he finally processed the words and slowly uttered a single sound. Huh. At the Thorne estate, a medic was removing the bullet from Donovan's shoulder. Donovan bit down hard on a towel, his brow furrowed in pain. Mr. Vance, I'm going to extract the bullet now, the doctor said. Donovan's forehead was slick with sweat. He nodded slightly. The doctor finished sterilizing the area and carefully probed the wound with a pair of forceps. MMPH. A wave of excruciating pain made Donovan let out a muffled groan. Fortunately, the doctor was skilled. He quickly and precisely clamped onto the bullet and pulled it out. Huh. Donovan released the towel, allowing the doctor to bandage his shoulder. Have they found them yet? He asked Mason Thorne. Still searching. Don't worry, mister Vance, they won't get away, Mason said. Donovan nodded slowly, a venomous look in his eyes. Leo Evans. He looked at his shoulder and made a decision. That man could not be allowed to live. No matter the cost, he had to be completely erased from this world. In that moment when he was attacked, Donovan had never felt so close to death. If it hadn't been for Cole's kick, he would be a cold corpse right now. And you, what's your story? Donovan turned to Cade, who was standing nearby, and frowned. Why didn't you shoot? Cade, sweating profusely, recounted what had happened on the roof, not leaving out a single detail. The ghost. Hearing that name, Donovan's hand unconsciously clenched into a fist. He's supposed to be dead. Weren't they sure they found his body after the Manhattan incident? It seems he must have faked his death to escape, Cade said, his head bowed. Donovan let out a heavy breath, fell back against the sofa, and pinched the bridge of his nose. Things were starting to spin out of his control. Both the assassination attempt tonight and the reemergence of the ghost had caught him completely off guard. Mason Thorne sat nearby, saying nothing. He didn't care about the ghost or Leo Evans. All he wanted was for the Thorne family to survive this vortex. After a long time, Donovan slowly opened his eyes. Cade. Mr. Vance, I'm here. Notify New York. I want everyone we can spare sent here tomorrow. Donovan repeated himself for emphasis. Remember, everyone. Cade hesitated. But Mr. Vance, if we move everyone over, what if someone makes a move on us back home? They won't dare. Donovan cut him off, his eyes dark. Leave Lin Jianbai's group to hold the fort. That will be enough. If someone does try something, at worst, Lin Jianbai will take them down with him. None of the families in New York are qualified to take a bite out of my Vance dominion. Hearing Donovan's ruthless declaration, Cade said no more. He was just an employee. He nodded, took out his phone, and began making the arrangements. After a while, Donovan felt his shoulder was a bit better. He stood up. Master Thorne, I'll be leaving now, Donovan said. Notify me the moment you catch them. Mason quickly stood up. Mr. Vance, perhaps you should stay here. You'll be safer at my estate. Donovan waved his hand, ignoring Mason. Accompanied by Cade, he left the Thorne estate. As he got into the car, Donovan looked back at the massive estate. Mason Thorne. Donovan's fist tightened. This assassination attempt tonight had better have been just a coincidence. With that, he got in the car and shut the door. Stay at the Thorne estate? He didn't dare. He was afraid Mason Thorne would finish him off before Leo Evans was even caught. It was only a suspicion, but Donovan sensed that Mason might not be as loyal as he appeared. Cade, what's your take on Mason Thorne? In the front seat, Cade, who was driving, paused for a moment. He seems like an honest man. Ever since you arrived, he's put the entire Thorne family at your disposal. He rarely speaks, and he carries out your orders immediately. I don't see any problems. Hearing Cade's assessment, Donovan's frown deepened. He stared out the window at the passing city lights. After a moment, he murmured, "The dogs that bite don't bark." Mason Thorne, he feared, was far from the loyal subject he pretended to be. After Donovan left, back in the Thorne study, the butler rushed in. "Master, it's terrible," he said to Mason. "Miss Molina, she's gone. She must have slipped out during the chaos. Master, should we send people to find her?" But hearing this news, Mason's expression didn't change at all. He slowly closed his eyes, picturing Molina's figure escaping in the confusion. He spoke softly. "A daughter's heart will go where it wants. Let her go." Without waiting for the butler to reply, Mason Thorne walked out, got into his car, and left the estate. Under the cover of night, Leo and Ethan darted through alleyways, evading their pursuers. After running for so long, their stamina was hitting rock bottom. Leo, in particular, was drained. He had used phantom flow for too long back at the Thorne estate, and his energy was depleted. If it weren't for the regenerative properties of his enhanced physiology, he would have collapsed long ago. If he ran into Cole now, he could maybe maintain his ultimate state for 3 minutes tops. So, until the last possible moment, he didn't want to risk a confrontation. The best-case scenario was to wait for rescue from the CF family. "Leo, we can't keep this up. Their perimeter is getting smaller," Ethan panted. "Maybe you should just turn yourself in. That way, I might be able to escape. Are you even listening to the garbage coming out of your mouth?" Leo shot him a glare. He peeked his head out and scanned the area. There were still plenty of Thorne family members outside, closing in. Suddenly, an idea flashed in his mind. He pulled his head back, his eyes fixed on Ethan. "Ethan, I have a brilliant idea." "Shut your damn mouth." Ethan grabbed Leo by the collar, hissing, "Your only job right now is to think of a way to escape. You're not allowed to think about anything else, you hear me? No, I really think this could work. Leo insisted. Look, all the Thorn family's men are out here, right? So, as they say, the most dangerous place is the safest place. Leo's eyes were resolute. Let's hit them with a reverse. Circle back and take down their headquarters. I'll kill you first. Ethan spat in his face. If you want to die, don't drag me with you. A reverse? You're that confident there are no masters left at the Thorn estate. I admit there's an element of gambling involved. I'm begging you, Leo. Ethan pressed his hands together in a plea. Can't we just wait here for rescue? He didn't understand why Leo's approach was always so aggressive. It was always a fight. Even now, on the run, his only solution was still to fight. In Leo's mind, there was only one rule: just do it. Seeing Ethan practically begging, Leo decided to grant him this one favor. He'd let the Thorn family off the hook for now. He sighed and looked outside. The search party was almost upon them. Time to move. If they weren't going to counterattack, their only option was to keep running and wait for backup. As the two of them fled, neither they nor the Thorn family members noticed an animal that should not have been in Westlake City slipping quietly into the search perimeter. Mr. Cole, have they been caught yet? On the street, Mason Thorn got out of his car and approached Cole. If we let them get away, it will be difficult for either of us to answer to Mr. Vance. Cole shot Mason a cool glance and snorted. You can rest assured. They can hide for another hour at most. I'll make my move. They won't escape. An hour, you say? Mason's eyes narrowed as he stared at the empty street, his thoughts unreadable. In that case, I will wait here for your good news, Mr. Cole. Cole nodded slightly and walked away without another word. Mason watched his retreating back with a profound look in his eyes. Leaning against his car, he slowly lit a cigarette. An hour. That kid, Leo Evans, had better run fast. It will be a real problem for me if Donovan actually caught him. Mason muttered to himself, then fell silent, playing with his lighter as he waited for the outcome. Cole, meanwhile, had commandeered a motorcycle from one of the Thorn family men. Searching on foot was too slow. He was an assassin. He knew that in a situation like this, there were only a limited number of places suitable for hiding. All he had to do was check those spots one by one. He was sure to find them. The roar of the motorcycle engine was jarringly loud in the silent streets. In the shadows, Leo heard the faint engine sound from a distance. A motorcycle? He frowned, his expression darkening. Was Cole getting impatient, trying to flush him out faster? Still, there were so many places to hide. It was impossible he'd get lucky and find them on the first try, right? Ethan noticed his expression. What's wrong with a motorcycle? Leo's face was serious. I was just thinking, maybe I should get a motorcycle license. That's it. Leo clapped his hands excitedly. I can't get a car license, but I can get one for a motorcycle. It's just 2 fewer wheels. What's the difference? Plus, they look way cooler. Ethan's mouth twitched. That's all he was thinking about? He thought something was wrong. Wait a minute. Ethan frowned. The engine noise was getting closer. It can't be. Ethan. Leo stood up, his eyes hardening. Get ready to fight. He's here. In the distance, Cole was riding his motorcycle, heading straight for their hiding spot. Leo couldn't believe it. The guy had picked a random direction and just happened to be right. He'd jinxed it. I'll hold him off. You run northeast. Your dad's reinforcements are coming from that direction. Don't be an idiot. You think you can stop him alone? What good are you here? Leo shot him a sideways glance. You threw away all your knives. You don't even have a weapon. You gonna stick around and be a hostage? Ethan's jaw tightened. Leo had a point. He couldn't argue. In this situation, he'd only be dead weight. Damn it, I should have asked Lucia for a gun too. All right, you hold on. I'll be back with the CF family to rescue you. With that, Ethan turned and ran without a second's hesitation. Leo's eye twitched. Dude, you're really just leaving? Not even a little bit of emotional hesitation? A dramatic farewell? Man, I give up, Leo sighed. He pulled out his pistol, looked at Cole in the distance, and took a deep breath. There was no other choice. It was time to fight. Without hesitation, Leo activated Phantom Flow and burst out of the alley. Bang, bang, bang. Moving at high speed, he fired 3 shots at Cole. Cole reacted instantly, yanking on the handlebars. The front wheel of the motorcycle lifted, blocking all 3 bullets. At the same time, he looked at Leo, a small smile playing on his lips. Found you. Pop, pop, pop. Under the cover of night, Leo Evans and Cole traded shots. Cole, straddling a motorcycle, fired at Leo while accelerating toward him. Shit, isn't this cheating? In his heightened state of awareness, Leo backpedaled, moving at incredible speed as he dodged Cole's bullets. At the same time, He scanned his surroundings, his brow furrowed. The gunshots were already drawing the attention of Thorne family muscle. Men were converging on his position from all directions. If this dragged on, he'd be completely surrounded. And Cole was putting some serious pressure on him. The man was on a completely different level from Crimson Rose. Damn it, how many more guys like this does the Vance Dominion have? Leo wondered, his hands never ceasing their motion. He fired with surgical precision, hitting the rear tire of Cole's motorcycle. Bang, the tire exploded. Cole slammed on the brakes and vaulted from the bike. Screech. The motorcycle scraped along the pavement, producing a deafening shriek. Using his momentum, Cole launched himself into the air and fired 2 more shots at Leo mid-flight. Leo dodged them both by a hair's breadth. Is that all you got, big guy? Your aim is garbage. I was a better shot the day I was born. With aim like that, back home you'd be sitting at the kids' table. Leo shouted, taunting Cole even as he sprinted away. He couldn't afford to lose the psychological edge. Besides, his goal was only to stall Cole and wait for Ethan Sia to bring reinforcements. Now that the motorcycle was out of commission, Leo's main objective shifted to escape. Quick, Leo's over there. Get him. Target spotted. All units converge. Huh, strange. Why is he alone? I thought there were 2 of them. Doesn't matter. The boss said our main target is Leo Evans. Since his identity was already blown, Leo had ditched his mask earlier. Before setting out, everyone in the Thorne family had seen his photo. It had been blasted to their group chat. The second they saw his face, they knew who he was. In an instant, not just Cole, but every Thorne family member in the vicinity was in hot pursuit. The hell? Why is everyone chasing just me? Leo yelled over his shoulder. Ethan Sia went northeast. Go after him. He's the heir to the Willow Creek Syndicate. If you catch him, the Thorne family will be unstoppable. Hey, did you hear me? Ethan Sia, heir to Willow Creek. He went northeast. Leo had no hesitation about selling out his teammate. There were just too many of them, and he was starting to feel the strain. The adrenaline rush was about to wear off. But to his dismay, the Thorne family members completely ignored him. They only had eyes for Leo. Ethan who? Never heard of him. Ethan, you son of a bitch, you better hurry up. Leo cursed inwardly. Behind him, Thorne's men were now chasing him in cars. 2 legs were no match for 4 wheels. His jaw tightened. Leo didn't hesitate. He spun around and fired. Bang! A single bullet struck the driver right between the eyes. He was dead before his foot left the gas pedal. Screech. The car skidded to a halt, tires screaming against the asphalt. In that same instant, Leo flipped the script. He sprinted to the sedan, yanked open the door, dragged the body out, and jumped into the driver's seat. It was a single fluid motion. He'd just stolen their car. But as he sat behind the wheel, Leo froze. Shit, I forgot I don't have a license. What do I do? In the rearview mirror, he could see Cole and the others closing in fast. No time to think about it. Just drive. Leo gripped the steering wheel, slammed his foot on the gas, and was instantly thrown back in his seat. The engine roared to life, and the car shot forward, leaving his pursuers in the dust. The men chasing him stared, dumbfounded. Who the hell taught him to drive like that? Why does he make a sedan look like a sports car? Stop gawking, you idiots. He's getting away. Move. Down the street, a black sedan sped through the night. Strangely, though it wasn't raining, the windshield wipers were on full blast. And though it was pitch black, the headlights were off. The car flew past like a bolt of lightning, leaving only Leo's panicked screams echoing in the wind. Why the hell is this a manual? Leo was having a meltdown. There were 3 pedals at his feet, and besides the accelerator, he had no idea what the other 2 were for. All he wanted to do was stop the car and go back to a driving school that actually taught stick shift. Seeing that he had finally lost his pursuers, Leo gritted his teeth and yanked the handbrake. His foot, however, remained glued to the accelerator. In his mind, how could you brake without gassing it? Miraculously, the car screeched to a halt. It was probably undrivable now. Leo opened the door and stumbled out. He looked back to see smoke beginning to curl from under the hood. But despite it all, a wave of exhilaration washed over him. He felt terrifyingly powerful. I can drive. Not only that, I lost them all. I knew it. I have a natural talent for driving. So what if Ava has some kind of innate driving genius? Does she know as much about cars as I do? He even drove a manual, while Ava had only learned on an automatic. But this wasn't the time to congratulate himself. Cole and the others would be on him soon. He had to disappear. Leo turned and darted into an alley, intending to find Ethan. Suddenly, he froze, his eyes widening in disbelief at what he saw ahead of him. What the hell are you doing here? On another street, Mason Thorne leaned against his car door, his eyes glued to his phone. He had been monitoring the group chat, and he knew Leo hadn't been caught yet. He certainly earned Donovan Vance's attention. To evade capture under these circumstances is impressive. It seems the 7 men I sent after him didn't die in vain. Just then his phone rang. Mason frowned and answered. Boss, we have a problem. The Willow Creek Syndicate showed up on the northeast side. Mr. Sia is with them. They've brought a lot of men. They're probably here to extract Leo. Mr. Sia? Mason's eyebrow twitched. The old man certainly moved fast, but his arrival simplified things. Have everyone converge on the northeast position. I'm on my way, Mason said coolly as he got in his car. But boss, what about Leo? I said everyone. Yes, sir. In the northeast sector of the city, Ethan Sia stared at the sea of syndicate members before him, completely dumbfounded. Was this a rescue mission or a declaration of war? He had a sinking feeling his old man wasn't here just to play nice. Why are you alone? Where's Leo? Ava Reed scanned the area, not seeing Leo anywhere. She asked urgently, where is he? He stayed behind to cover our escape and told me to find you first, Ethan said quickly. We need to get back there and help him. He might not be able to hold them off for long. Hearing that Leo hadn't made it out, Ava's anxiety spiked. This was the Thorne family, not some small-time outfit like the Foam Alliance back in Ethelberg. Not to mention, Donovan Vance's people were hunting him too. The odds were stacked against him. Mr. Sia, we have to go save Leo now, Ava said, turning to look at Ethan's father. Mr. Sia didn't answer her. His gaze was fixed, heavy and grim, on the street ahead. In the distance, Thorne family cars were pouring in from every direction. Clearly, their presence had been discovered. Mr. Sia, please wait here a moment. Our boss will be here shortly. A Thorne family enforcer stepped forward. I'm sorry, but you can't pass until he arrives. Mr. Sia's expression showed no surprise. He knew the Thorns wouldn't just let him march a small army through their territory. But this was enough. At least it meant the Thorns wouldn't have the spare manpower to hunt down Leo. Seeing the standoff, Ava grew even more anxious. Suddenly, her phone buzzed with a new message. Leo's fine. Don't worry. The moment she saw the sender's name, her frantic heart settled. If he said Leo was fine, then Leo was fine. Meanwhile, Ethan was drenched in sweat. He had run so hard to get here that he felt like he'd logged more steps today than in his entire life. His fitness app would be off the charts. Dad, if things get ugly, let's just go for it, Ethan whispered, leaning close to his father's ear. We don't start trouble, but we don't run from it, either. The Thorns are pushing us around right on our doorstep. Are you really going to take that? Leo's life is still on the line. Mr. Sia shot him a look, his teeth clenched. On the way over, he'd already gotten the full story. These 2 daredevils had actually tried to assassinate Donovan Vance on Thorne territory. And now his son was standing here acting like the innocent victim, as if the Thorns had been the ones to ambush him. Shut your mouth. Leo will be fine, Mr. Sia said with conviction. We have more important things to do right now. What things? Ethan asked, curious. And how do you know Leo's okay? Because I'm your father. Mr. Sia snapped, glaring at him. Now shut up and get to the back. All you ever do is cause me trouble. Chastened, Ethan slunk to the rear of the group, muttering curses about his old man under his breath. With so many people watching, couldn't he have saved him some face? How was he supposed to maintain his reputation as the syndicate's heir? It wasn't long before Mason Thorne's car arrived. He stepped out, his eyes calmly sweeping over the assembled syndicate members before landing on Mr. Sia with a smile. Mr. Sia, what's the meaning of this? Our families have worked together for years. All this tension, it's hardly appropriate, is it? Ethan's anger flared at the words. The Thorne family was about to backstab them. It was an open secret. And here Mason was playing the victim, making it sound like they were the ones in the wrong. Mason Thorne, who do you think you're fooling with that act? Mr. Sia said with a faint smile. I can't even be bothered to speak with you right now. You're not worthy of my time. Get Donovan Vance over here. I have something to say to him. Mason's pupils contracted. Mr. Sia knew more than he'd thought. That being the case, he dropped the pretense. Mr. Vance has already left the estate. If you have a message, I'll pass it along. It's no use telling you. Get Vance on the phone, Mr. Sia said flatly. Otherwise, our families go to war today. The air crackled with tension. Ethan stared at his father's back, bewildered. Dad, I asked you to rescue someone, and you're actually starting a war? Just like that? Mason frowned deeply, studying Mr. Sia with suspicion. He couldn't get a read on him. This wasn't the man he knew. Why was he being so aggressive today? You must be joking, Mr. Sia. Do I look like I'm joking? Mr. Sia held up 3 fingers. I'll count to 3. Either you make the call, or you make a move on my syndicate. 3. Attack. What the hell? What about 1 and 2? Mason stared in disbelief. He was just now realizing how shameless the old bastard could be. Who cares about those 2 numbers? A real man only needs to remember 3 to survive in this world. Wait, I'll call him. Mason gritted out. I'll make the damn call. He felt like crying. He'd never been so humiliated in his life. It was like trying to reason with a brick wall. Mister. Sia's hand, halfway raised, paused in midair. He looked at Mason irritably. Should have just done that from the start, shouldn't you? Mason glared daggers at him, pulled out his phone, and dialed Donovan Vance. Hello. Did you get him? Oh well, Mr. Vance. Mason quickly summarized the situation. Mister. Sia wants to talk to me. Vance frowned, then said, put him on. I'm curious to hear what he has to say. Mason handed the phone to Mr. Sia. Hello, Donovan Vance? It's me. What do you want? Nothing too important. Someone just asked me to pass a message along to you. Mr. Sia grinned. That person wanted me to tell you that tomorrow night at 8 Dr. Quentin Marks will be leaving West Lake University with his research. On the other end of the line, Vance's pupil shrank. Who told you to give me this message? Now that, I'm not at liberty to say. What else did he say? Let me think. Mr. Sia tilted his head, feigning contemplation. After a moment, as if suddenly remembering something, he said, oh, right? That person also specifically asked me to express his gratitude. Gratitude? Vance had a bad feeling about this. That's right, Mr. Sia said with a chuckle. He said he's kept a record of everything you've done to Sterling over the years, and one day, he'll be sure to visit the Vance Dominion to thank you in person. That's all. Bye. Wait, click. Vance hadn't even finished his sentence before Mr. Sia hung up. In his hotel room, Vance's grip on his phone tightened unconsciously, his face a mask of suspicion and alarm. Sterling. He didn't need to guess what kind of gratitude Mr. Sia was talking about. It certainly wasn't going to be pleasant. Damn it, who is it? Vance's head snapped up. It was only now, belatedly, that he realized it. Perhaps from a moment he had arrived in Westlake City, he had already fallen into someone's trap. And now, leaving was going to be difficult. Useless bunch of morons. On a deserted street, Cole searched for any trace of Leo by himself. As for the Thorne family members, they had all been recalled by Mason Thorne. He couldn't have stopped them if he tried. They had a legitimate reason to leave. The Willow Creek Syndicate was stirring up trouble, and they were short on manpower. That was their excuse. It made Cole line them all up and shoot them. Leo's chaotic driving had already made them lose his exact location. Now that everyone was gone, leaving him alone, what was the point of searching? He'd considered calling Donovan Vance to report in and ask for new orders, but Vance's line was busy. For a moment, Cole didn't know what to do. Keep looking? With Leo's talent for disappearing, it was probably a lost cause. Give up? If Vance blamed him for it later, he'd be in a world of hurt. So Cole just started wandering the streets, his eyes scanning his surroundings without any real focus, openly slacking off. Meanwhile, in a hidden corner of the city, Leo was running, a look of pure excitement on his face. Trotting behind him was a small raccoon carrying a black backpack. Their destination, the Thorne family estate. I can't believe that guy Julian actually sent you too. Squeak, squeak. I was looking for you for so long. TCH, thanks for the hard work. You must be tired after running all this way. Squeak, squeak. I want fish. Fine, fine. Go ask Ava for some tuna treats later. Squeak, squeak. I want fish, not tuna treats. TCH, right? I forgot you're not that dumb cat. Tuna treats are probably just an appetizer for you. Leo reached out and patted Captain Crunch's head, then picked up his pace. Unlike before, he was armed with more than just a pistol now. Not only was Captain Crunch's backpack loaded with explosives, but Leo himself was now carrying Kane's, his sniper rifle. When did Kane have a sniper rifle? At some point, Kane's rifle had become Leo's signature weapon. Probably no one even remembered that Kane was once the Reed family's top sniper. Sorry, it's all my fault. I'm just too brilliant. I've overshadowed old Kane's talent. My bad, Leo said, his tone self-reproachful, but his face was lit with a grin wider than ever before. He couldn't wait to blow up the Thorne estate. After they'd chased him for so long, if he didn't give them something in return, could he still call himself a model citizen? Reciprocity was a traditional virtue etched into his very bones. How could he forget? He had to give the Thorne family a big gift in return. At the same time, the standoff between the Thorne and Sia families continued. Mr. Sia hung up and handed the phone back to Mason Thorne. Mason put the phone in his pocket, his eyes sweeping over the syndicate members before finally settling on Mr. Sia. Mr. Sia, you've said your piece. Can you leave now? What's the rush? It's not often we get to see each other. Why don't we chat for a bit? Mason's mouth twitched. Who was it that just moments ago had pompously declared he wasn't worthy of a conversation? Now he wanted to chat. Mason, since we've worked together for so many years, let me give you a little tip off the record. What tip? Mason asked, his eyes filled with suspicion as he watched Mr. Sia warily. Mr. Sia just smiled and said in a loud voice, "Don't get mixed up in Donovan Vance's business. You have no chance of winning. If you side with him, no one will be able to protect you when the time comes. Turn back now before it's too late. Join us, and we can take Vance down together. How about it?" Mason's eyes went wide. Was Mr. Sia insane? Was he trying to turn him? And even if he was, couldn't he be a little more discreet about it? They were surrounded by men from both families, and he was trying to recruit him in public? How could he possibly agree? And why was he speaking so loudly? Was he afraid they wouldn't hear? Wait, Mason's pupils contracted. He glanced around, and it hit him. That old fox, Mr. Sia, had said it on purpose. With so many people here, his words would undoubtedly get back to Donovan Vance. Then, even if he had no intention of betraying Vance, Vance would become suspicious of him. Mr. Sia, you son of a bitch. Mason cursed silently. Then he boomed, Mr. Sia, you can forget it. The Thorne family wouldn't be where it is today without Mr. Vance's support. You could say that without Mr. Vance, there would be no Thorne family. You want me to betray him? I'm telling you, don't even think about it. I, Mason Thorne, would rather die than harbor a single ill thought toward Mr. Vance. Give up this foolish idea. Mason's words were righteous, his tone impassioned. He projected an image of utter revulsion at Mr. Sia's attempt to sway him. At least he was putting on the right show. Mr. Sia's mouth twitched. He knew Mason was acting, but wasn't this a bit too over the top? Anyone who didn't know better would think Vance had saved his entire family. If that's how you feel, then I won't press the issue, Mr. Sia said, shaking his head with regret. Our family's partnership ends here. From now on, we walk different paths. Oomph. I refuse to associate with someone who shows such disrespect to Mr. Vance, Mason declared. Can you stop sucking up for 1 second? Mr. Sia was speechless. He never realized Mason was so shameless. Didn't his conscience bother him saying things like that? Then let's part ways here, Mason said, then stood there, staring silently at Mr. Sia. Mr. Sia stared silently back. After a long moment, Mason couldn't take it anymore. Are you not leaving? Do you really want to go to war? Who wants to go to war? Mr. Sia said, can't we just take a stroll around the neighborhood? With this many people? You call this a stroll? We're a close-knit family. We enjoy group outings. What's wrong with that? Mr. Sia said without batting an eye. He couldn't leave now. He had to wait for Leo to show up. Ava and the others wouldn't rest easy until Leo was safely recovered. Mason thought for a moment and guessed Mr. Sia's intention. He was most likely waiting for Leo. Any news from Leo? Ethan asked Ava from the back. She had been trying to contact Leo on her phone, but there was still no response. When Ava shook her head, Ethan's brow furrowed with worry. Could something have really happened to Leo? No, I can't just wait. I have to get Dad to send people in to look for him. Ethan made up his mind and was about to go talk to his father when a massive explosion ripped through the air from a distance. Boom! Everyone froze, turning toward the sound in stunned silence. All they could see was a brilliant orange glow against the night sky. "B-Boss," one of the Thorne men stammered, his lips trembling. That looks like our estate." Mason stood frozen on the spot. It took a long moment for the reality to sink in. His home had just been blown up. Ava and Kane, who had been worried about Leo just a second ago, now simultaneously rushed forward and grabbed Mr. Sia's arms. "Mr. Sia, let's go. Mr. Sia. We're not waiting for Leo. Wait for him. Are you kidding me?" Kane muttered. That explosion was 100% Leo's handiwork. He's right. Ava nodded frantically. "Mr. Sia, let's get out of here now." If they waited for Leo to show up, Mason might actually lose it and declare war on the spot. "Mr. Sia, you despicable, shameless bastard." Mason Thorne trembled with rage, pointing a shaking finger at Mr. Sia. "So that's why you were stalling here. I can't believe the great Willow Creek Syndicate would resort to such dirty tricks. A classic diversion. You lure all my men out here, while you send someone to sneak in and attack my home from behind. Brilliant. Truly brilliant." Mr. Sia was completely bewildered. "Wait, that's not what I was doing. I really didn't send anyone to blow up your house. I was seriously just waiting for Leo. For a moment, Mr. Sia was at a loss. What could he do? He quickly tried to explain. Mason, don't misunderstand. Calm down. I really didn't blow up your house. Still denying it. Mason laughed, a cold, furious sound. If it wasn't you, who was it? The BSO? Are those self-righteous Boy Scouts going to pull a stunt like this? Or are you going to blame the Vance Dominion? Are you trying to pin this on Donovan Vance to make me turn against him? If it wasn't one of them, then tell me, besides your syndicate, who in all of Westlake City has the power to pull something like this off? Or what, did I blow up my own house? Mister. Sia opened his mouth, but found he had no rebuttal. Mason had a point. The only players in Westlake City with the capability to do this were a handful of major powers. If he were in Mason's shoes, he'd suspect him too. It made perfect sense. But the problem was, he really had nothing to do with it. He was being framed. Mason, I swear to you. Mister. Sia raised his hand solemnly. If this was done by anyone from my syndicate, may my son die a horrible death this very year. Ethan. Wait, Dad. You're swearing on my life? If it really was one of our guys, what's going to happen to me? Little did he know, mister. See, I was worried about that too. If by some chance this wasn't Leo's doing and was actually connected to his own people, he could use his son as a shield. It was a simple risk transfer. After all these years of raising a son, what was the point if you couldn't use him to take the fall in a pinch? Mister. Yeah, you shameless old bastard. Mason couldn't hold back anymore, blurting out the exact words Ethan was thinking. He was about to continue his tirade when his own men interrupted. Boss, maybe we should go back and put out the fire first. Yeah, boss, if it keeps burning, there'll be nothing left when we get back. We can get revenge later. Let's just go back for now. Boss. Hearing his men's pleas, Mason swallowed the curses rising in his throat. He shot one last venomous glare at Mister. Sia, you just wait, Mister. Sia, this isn't over between us. With that, Mason quickly led his men back toward the estate to fight the fire. Mister. Sia stood there, looking utterly innocent. He desperately wanted to stop Mason and tell him it really had nothing to do with his syndicate, but on second thought, he decided against it. If he tried to hold Mason here now, a real fight might break out. Judging by his expression, Mason was already on the verge of exploding. He turned to Ava and mumbled, "So, we leave?" Ava nodded firmly. "We leave. As for Leo, please." If Leo wasn't behind that explosion, Kane would personally unscrew his own head and kick it like a soccer ball. Kane gazed at the distant flames, shaking his head and sighing to himself. So familiar, just so damn familiar. The same night sky, the same explosion, the same fiery glow. Truly the patron saint of demolitions. Was the only way he could describe Leo. Captain Crunch, hurry the hell up. This is the last one. We blow this building, and then we get out of here. Move it. We're not blowing up the kitchen, though. You have to respect the food. That's our bottom line, understand? Inside the Thorn estate, Leo ran with Captain Crunch through a sea of flames. He had one goal: use up every last explosive in the raccoon's backpack. He didn't even wait to set them all off at once, just detonating them one by one as he ran past each location. No hesitation. Boom! Another massive explosion. He'd finally set off the last charge. Right now, aside from the kitchen, almost no part of the Thorn estate was left intact. All right, let's bounce, Leo said, grabbing Captain Crunch and preparing to make a run for it. The Thorn family would be back any minute, and after blowing their home to Kingdom Come, a simple apology wasn't going to cut it. Before starting the demolition, Leo had specifically left himself an escape route. Shit, put out the fire. Damn it, who did this? Soulless bastards. Absolutely soulless. Save the assets. Get the important stuff out first. The voices of Thorn's men carried from behind him. Leo was a bit surprised. They were back much faster than he'd anticipated. Surround the area. The bastard can't have gone far, right? We have to catch him. Killing him is the only way I'll be satisfied. Wow. My life savings. It's all gone. Seriously? They're going to surround me again? Leo frowned and picked up his pace. Seeing that Captain Crunch couldn't keep up, Leo simply scooped up the raccoon and ran with him under his arm. Outside the estate, Leo hesitated, wondering which way to run. Northeast was out of the question. The main force of the Thorn family was there, but the other directions were quickly being sealed off by their men. At his speed, he'd never make it out before the encirclement was complete. Mr. Evans, over here. Hearing the shout, Leo looked over. A black sedan was parked by the side of the road, and the person inside was waving frantically at him. It was Marco. What are you doing here? No time, Mr. Evans, just get in the car. Leo nodded, ran over with Captain Crunch, and slid neatly into the passenger seat. Marco stomped on the gas, and the car roared away, accelerating hard. At this speed, they'd be able to escape long before the thorns could close their net. Phew! Leo let out a sigh of relief. He looked at Marco. How are you here? Did you bring Captain Crunch? Marco nodded while driving. Mr. Reed sent me to provide support. When we got here, Captain Crunch followed your scent to find you. I was afraid of being spotted, so I didn't go with him. Then how did you know I was at the Thorn Estate and managed to pick me up so perfectly? Mr. Reed said you're easy to find. Marco said with a smile. Just look for the explosions. So, the second I saw the fireworks here, I came right over. I didn't expect you to actually be here. Mr. Reed really does know everything. In the back seat, Leo was silent. He felt he'd been misunderstood yet again. An hour later, Mr. Sierra returned to the Syndicate estate with his people. As they walked into the living room, Ava and Kane froze. A man was sitting on the sofa, sipping tea. When he saw them enter, he smiled and gave a small wave. Julian? Julian? Ava blinked. What are you doing here? Julian Reed stood up with a weary smile. With the situation over here getting so complicated, how could I possibly sit around peacefully in Ethelberg? After Kane had called him requesting explosives, Julian had thought it over and decided to come to Westlake City himself. With Leo in the mix, he knew this crew's methods were too crude, all brute force and no brains. It made him uneasy. Furthermore, after Director Jensen spoke with Leo, he remained deeply concerned that Leo would derail the entire operation. So, he had specifically asked Julian to come and keep the situation under control. Sure enough, the moment he arrived in Westlake City, he was informed that Leo had attempted to assassinate Donovan Vance. Despite being exhausted from the long drive, Julian had no choice but to immediately contact Mr. Sia and formulate a plan based on the current situation. Sending Marco and Captain Crunch was his first move. He knew exactly what Leo needed most. Captain Crunch was tasked with delivering explosives and a rifle, ensuring Leo had enough firepower. Marco's objective was to extract him. Julian knew that once Leo got his hands on explosives, he would definitely make a move. That's why he had specifically told Marco, where there's an explosion, there's Leo. It was also because of Julian that Mr. Sia hadn't engaged the Thorns directly, but had instead pinned down Mason with his forces. Only after setting all this in motion did Julian drag his exhausted body to the Syndicate estate. He had just sat down for a cup of tea when Ava and the others returned. So, you were already in Westlake City when you messaged me? Ava held up her phone, showing the message that had told her Leo was safe. Yes, I wasn't on site, but I had one of Mr. Sia's men giving me real-time updates. I saw you were getting anxious, so I sent you that message. Marco just told me he picked up Leo. They're on their way here now. You should see him soon. After explaining, Julian let out a long breath and stretched his neck. The night had taken a lot out of him. All he wanted now was a good night's sleep. Julian turned to Mr. Sia. Mr. Sia, I might have to stay here for a couple of days. No need to be so formal. I'll have the butler prepare a room for you right away. Since you're Anthony Reed's son, just call me Uncle Sia, like Ava does Mr. Sia replied with a broad smile, sizing up Julian with undisguised admiration. There was also a hint of envy. Why did that bastard Anthony Reed get to have such an outstanding son, and a stunningly beautiful daughter to boot? Thank you, Uncle Sia. Also, Director Jensen asked me to send his regards. Jensen? That old fellow still remembers to send me regards. Mr. Sia chuckled and nodded. Understand. You should go get some rest. You've had a long night. Julian nodded lightly, finished his tea in one gulp, picked up his suitcase, and walked over to Ava. He reached out and habitually ruffled her hair. When Leo gets back, tell him to come find me in my room. I need to talk to him. Oh, Ava pouted, slightly annoyed at him for messing up her hair in front of everyone. She was a grown woman, yet he still treated her like a kid. Didn't he know she'd been losing a bit of hair lately? Sure enough, the next second, Julian pulled his hand back and looked at the few strands caught between his fingers. TSK, you've been shedding a lot lately. It's none of your business. All college students lose hair, okay? Ava snapped. Who says? I never lost any hair when I was in college. You're so annoying. Just go to your room already. Ava shoved Julian, wishing there weren't so many people around, so she could properly punch him. Didn't she have a reputation to maintain? She was a girl. How could he talk about her hair loss in front of everyone? Besides, it wasn't even that much, just a few strands. All right, I'm going. Julian let Ava push him out, a helpless look on his face. As the two were bickering at the doorway, they ran right into Ethan Sia. Ava quickly retracted her hand and introduced him. This is Leo's friend, Ethan Sia. Julian extended a hand to Ethan with a smile. Hello, I'm Ava's brother, Julian Reed. I'm sure my sister and her friends have caused you a lot of trouble these past few days. Thank you for your help. No, not at all. Ethan quickly shook Julian's hand, studying him with curiosity. He'd heard Leo talk about Julian before, but he never expected him to be so young. He couldn't imagine that this friendly, approachable man was the head of an Apex family. He looked only a few years older than himself, yet he had single-handedly built the Reed family into what it was today. Ethan felt a genuine sense of admiration for him. Julian. Hey, Julian. Kane came running out after them. Didn't you say you brought all the gear? Where's my sniper rifle? He had been frustrated for days, constantly regretting not bringing his rifle to Westlake City. He'd been reduced to dragging Leo down, and Kane couldn't stand it. He was ready for a comeback. He needed to show Leo that Kane was still a force to be reckoned with. Your sniper rifle? Julian asked, feigning confusion. When did you ever have a sniper rifle? Kane's mouth twitched. Julian, don't mess with me. Hit. I'm just kidding. Your rifle is with Leo. You can ask him for it later. With that, Julian followed the butler to his room, leaving Kane standing there, dumbfounded. The rifle was with Leo. Would he ever get it back? As if Leo would ever give it to him. Kane felt a wave of despair. The entire Reed family, and they couldn't even rustle up 2 sniper rifles. He couldn't really blame Julian. Snipers weren't exactly common. Before Leo came along, Kane was their only one, so there had never been a need to stock up. Kane sighed. It looked like he'd have to find a way to get another one later. Maybe he could requisition one from the BSO. He was technically under Leo now, a member of the Special Operations Unit, which made him semi-official. A single sniper rifle. The BSO would probably give him one, right? Kane started weighing his options. An hour later, Marco brought Leo back to the Syndicate estate. Screech. Marco executed a perfect drift into a parking spot, leaving Leo completely stunned. Marco, you're amazing. Where'd you learn to drive like that? Leo's eyes were shining. He wanted to learn that too. His driving instructor never taught him how to drift. 0 stars. Hearing Leo's praise, Marco beamed. Well, Mr. Evans, to be honest, I used to be a race car driver before I joined the Reed family. Then why'd you stop? At the question, Marco's expression dimmed, a nostalgic and world-weary look in his eyes. Because one day, I lost. Years ago, I was at the top of the racing world, cocky and full of myself, when some unknown challenged me. He asked for a race that night on Devil's Backbone. I can still see it, him in his Dodge Caravan, using the drainage ditch to take the corners. I was completely crushed that night. After that, I gave up racing and joined the Reed family. He was that good? Leo looked at Marco with a newfound respect. I never knew you had a past like that. Mr. Evans, if you really want to learn how to drive, you should try to find a man who beat me. His skills are far beyond mine. From the way you describe him, he sounds like a true master in disguise. What's his name? After he won, he told me his name was Riker, the king of Blackwater Pass. Marco said with a sigh. Mr. Evans, if you can find him and get him to teach you personally, I'm sure you'll be able to get your license. I can't imagine anyone being so hopeless that they couldn't get a license under his tutelage. Mr. Evans? Why did you stop talking? Mr. Evans, are you okay? You don't look so good. I'm fine. Leo's excitement vanished, replaced by a look of utter dejection. He silently opened the car door and got out, not responding even when Captain Crunch squeaked at him. Marco's words echoed in his mind. Leo bit his lip hard to keep the tears from falling. In that moment, he completely gave up on ever getting a driver's license. Marco's story had shattered his last sliver of hope. Sighing, Leo walked dejectedly into the Syndicate estate. Oomph. The moment he stepped inside, he heard Ava's cold snort. Look who decided to come back. Ava glared at Leo, her teeth clenched. Leo's heart sank. This was bad. That big mouth Kane was supposed to keep this from Ava. Now he was screwed. Ahem. Ava, you're still up? Leo chuckled nervously. I'll deal with you later. Ava shot him a fierce look. My brother is in his room upstairs. He wants to see you when you get back. He has something to talk to you about. Julian? He's in Westlake City too. Leo was surprised. Marco hadn't mentioned that. He'd assumed Julian had just sent Marco and Captain Crunch as a special delivery service. He hadn't realized Julian himself was here. All right, I'll go see him now. Leo hurried upstairs. Every extra second he spent with Ava right now felt like he was tempting fate. Come find me after you're done talking, Ava added. Leo's steps faltered. He turned back and said sheepishly, it's pretty late, don't you think? You never thought it was too late when you used to sneak into my room at night. That was then, this is now. If I don't see you later, you're dead. With that, Ava went back to her room alone. She was clearly still furious about his actions tonight. After a whole evening of worrying sick about him, she wasn't going to feel better until she'd punched him a few times. Sigh, Leo sighed. Looked like he wouldn't be escaping a beating tonight. It was all Kane's fault. Was it so hard to just have Mr. Sia bring his men over quietly? No, I'm not suffering alone. It wasn't just my idea. Why does Ethan get off scot-free? Leo pulled out his phone and sent a message to Lucia Shang. Tonight's operation was all Ethan's idea. I was just following his lead. I'm innocent. He reread it, thought for a moment, then added in parentheses. This information is classified BSO intelligence. Delete after reading. That way, Ethan would never know he was the one who sold him out. As for what happened tonight, he was sure Lucia would get the intel. He trusted Ethan would understand. They were bros. Brothers shared the burden. Feeling much more balanced, Leo pocketed his phone and went upstairs, knocking on Julian's door. Come in. Leo pushed the door open and saw Julian at a desk, looking over some files. You're back. Seeing it was Leo, Julian put down the files and scolded him with a smile. You really know how to make trouble for me. You've only been in Westlake City for a few days, and you've already thrown the entire situation into chaos. It's not my fault. Trouble just seems to find me, Leo said, casually pulling up a chair. Did Jensen send you? Yes. He doesn't trust you, so he asked me to come keep an eye on things. Is that all? Of course not, Julian said with a grin. The Warren Collective in Ethelberg has made a move. They've slipped into Westlake City. They're likely another one of Vance's backup plans, so Director Jensen asked me to bring your people over to help. My people? Leo asked, pointing at himself. Yes, the Special Operations Unit, Julian said. They haven't been exposed. Like the Warrens, I've had them lie low in the city. If the Warrens don't move, they don't move. If they do, your unit is the countermeasure. Leo frowned. He hadn't expected the situation here to draw in the Warren Collective. Did Arthur Wallace come too? No, he didn't, Julian replied. According to my investigation, he cut ties with the Warrens when they moved to Ethelberg. He's just a normal barbecue joint owner now. That's good. Leo nodded. Arthur was Dylan Miller's uncle. If they ended up on opposite sides, Leo wouldn't know how to handle it. All right, let's go over Director Jensen's plan, Julian said, picking up the files from the desk and handing them to Leo. This way you won't be completely in the dark and go barging in, ruining everything. TSK. Old Jensen really doesn't trust me, huh? Leo took the files and started reading as Julian laid out the plan. Half an hour later, in Julian's room, after Julian's explanation, Leo had a general understanding of Director Jensen's plan. So, Jensen and Director Shang here are colluding to use DR. Marks as bait to kill Donovan Vance. Leo paused, looking confused. If that's the case, Vance is already here. Why not just swarm him with agents and take him out? Why make it so complicated? This is Westlake City, their home turf. Are they really that afraid of him? Julian shook his head gently. In my opinion, their goal is probably more than just killing Vance. Although Director Jensen told me the whole plan, I suspect he left a few things out. I'd guess they want to drain the Vance Dominion's resources as much as possible. Your assassination attempt tonight probably put Vance on high alert. He's likely mobilizing more of his family's forces to Westlake City as we speak. Julian smiled. And even though we told him DR, Marks is leaving the university at 8 tomorrow night. Vance is a smart man. He won't be foolish enough to wait until 8. He'll move faster, gathering his men at the first opportunity to catch us off guard. That's why all the students at Westlake University have already been evacuated tonight. Right now, the only people on campus are from the BSO. Tomorrow's battlefield will be WLU. You just follow the plan for now. If anything changes, you'll have to adapt on the fly. Leo nodded slowly. Julian had already explained the detailed plan to him. When the battle started, he just had to take the Special Operations Unit, Alex Young and the others, and set up a perimeter. As long as the Warren Collective didn't move, they wouldn't move. Even if the Westlake City BSO was at a disadvantage, they were under strict orders not to engage unless the Warrens did. All right, that's all I needed to tell you. If there's nothing else, you can go get some rest, Julian said, but noticed Leo was still standing there. What? Is there something else? Well, let me ask you something. Leo rubbed his hands together, a sheepish grin on his face. It's about, if, and I mean if I were to ask for your family's blessing to marry Ava, how much would you want? How much? Julian raised an eyebrow at the word. Then he looked at Leo, puzzled. Leo, you're not planning to marry my sister right now, are you? No, of course not. I was just asking. We'll get married eventually, right? I just want to be prepared, Leo said, scratching his head with a smile. I see. Julian's eyes glinted. He saw right through Leo's little scheme and cursed him inwardly. What a predator. His sister was just a freshman in college. Sure, she was close to the legal age of marriage, but she was still a freshman. Julian smiled and held up one finger. Well, the Reeds aren't demanding. I've seen how you and Ava feel about each other, and this is all just a formality anyway. So I won't ask for much. $10 million should do it. $10 million. Leo's mouth twitched when he heard the number. He thought he must have misheard, but when he saw the malicious grin on Julian's face, he knew Julian was messing with him. This was outrageous. Where was he supposed to get $10 million? Why was Julian suddenly acting like old Jensen, throwing around $10 million figures? He was just a student. His monthly salary was $15,000, and that came from Jensen. It would take him forever to make $10 million. Leo was silent for a long time, then suddenly looked up at Julian. Hey, how about I just marry into your family instead? We don't accept men marrying in. It's against the family rules, Julian said flatly. Since when does the Reed family have that rule? I've never heard of it. As of just now, I added it. Julian, you're just targeting me. I've bled for the Reed family. You can't be so ungrateful. Oh, Julian's expression was one of mild surprise. If you want to get technical, then let's get technical. You blew up the Phone Alliance's factory in Ethelberg, and then you blew up the BSO building. We paid for all the repairs and cleanup, which came out of maybe $1 or $2 million. And all the guns and ammo you've used. I won't charge you for the guns, but you've used up at least half of the Reed family stockpile of explosives. That stuff is expensive. I'll throw in the bullets for free. Let's call in even $5 million. And all the times you've used a Reed family car in Ethelberg, you should at least pay for gas and mileage, right? And you left that raccoon of yours with us for so long. You got to settle the bill for his room and board, right? And Julian ticked off the items on his fingers one by one. When he was done, he sucked in a breath through his teeth and looked at Leo. Actually, by my calculations, you owe our family well over $10 million now. Leo's eyes widened in disbelief. Seriously, bro? You just spout a few sentences, and suddenly I owe your family over $10 million? What kind of repairs and cleanup cost $1 or $2 million? That little bit of ammo is worth $5 million? And that raccoon, how much could he possibly eat? Julian, this is pure extortion. I'm going to report you to the BSO. Leo was trembling with rage, pointing a finger at Julian. TSK extortion? Julian looked at Leo, amused. Have you forgotten how you got that new car of yours? You report me to the BSO, and we'll see who they arrest first. I still have that Ava Reed expense sheet you used to blackmail me. It would make for some pretty compelling evidence. Leo was rendered speechless. After a full 2.5 seconds of careful consideration, he decided to back down. A wise man knows when to retreat. Hey, Julian, my man, Leo said, his face a mask of flattery. Just pretend I never said any of that. Let's just act like tonight never happened. All that talk about marriage and stuff, let's just put a pin in it for now. We've got more important things to worry about. We're going to be family sooner or later. Why let money get in the way? Oh, right. I just remembered Ava is still waiting for me. I should get going. She'll be mad if I'm late. You get some rest, Julian. Good night. With that, Leo turned and bolted from the room without a moment's hesitation. Of the 36 stratagems, fleeing was the best. Julian was too strong tonight. He'd try again another day. Oomph. Julian watched Leo's retreating back and snorted. That's what you get for causing me trouble all the time. He was glad Director Jensen had tipped him off that money was the best way to control this kid. You want to marry my sister? Go ahead and start earning that $10 million. After leaving Julian's room, Leo went downstairs, shot a venomous glare back at Julian's closed door, and clenched his fists. Damn you, Julian. You just wait. $10 million. You're forcing my hand. I'll just have to sleep with Ava and get her pregnant. Then we'll see if you still want your $10 million. After composing himself, Leo walked to Ava's door. He took a deep breath, forced a pathetic expression onto his face, and managed to squeeze out 2 tears. Then, he pushed open her door. Wah, Ava, you have no idea. Your brother was just bullying me. The moment he was inside, Leo started playing the victim. He threw himself into Ava's arms like a child, burying his face in her chest and rubbing it for good measure. Wah, he bullied me. He blackmailed me. He demanded $10 million from me. He's not human, wah. Ava sat on the edge of her bed, a bit stunned as Leo clung to her. What was going on? Why was he crying like this? My brother blackmailed you. Ava looked at him with suspicion, not believing a word of it. It was far more likely that he had blackmailed her brother. Soon, she realized what he was doing. He was trying to distract her. Get up, Ava said, her face stern. I won't. Leo buried his head deeper into her embrace, acting like a spoiled brat. Ava sighed softly. Get up. I forgive you for tonight. Really? Leo looked up. Whump. Ava immediately grabbed a pillow and smacked him with it. No. Leo quickly covered his head, enduring the barrage of pillow strikes. Damn. Ava's getting crafty. She knows how to lie now, and she does it without batting an eye. I wonder who taught her that. This is for trying to pull an assassination. Whump. This is for playing the victim. Whump. This is for being named Leo Evans. Whump. Ava pummeled him, listing his various crimes. It was a shame Kane wasn't there to witness it. A precious video like this would have been legendary in the Reed family, second only to the video of Ava beating up Julian. I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Leo pleaded for mercy. I believe a pig could fly before I'd believe you. Ava said, fuming. Your credibility score with me hit 0 a long time ago. I'd rather believe Reggie can do a backflip than believe you can stay out of trouble. At that, Leo said weakly, Reggie probably can do a backflip. He felt that with enough tuna treats, Sir Reginald Fluffington could take on anything, let alone a simple backflip. This was Spike, the terror of the streets they were talking about. He didn't mess around. Who's talking about backflips? Ava smacked him again with the pillow, harder this time. Leo was on the verge of tears. Weren't you the one who brought up backflips? Why are you so unreasonable? Huh. Ava seemed to have tired herself out, panting slightly. She tossed the pillow aside and stared at Leo, her eyes burning. Take off your clothes, she said. Leo. Huh. I said, take off your clothes, she repeated. This doesn't seem appropriate, Leo said hesitantly. Your brother is still upstairs. Hey, what are you doing? Ava lunged forward and, in a few swift motions, stripped off Leo's shirt. Leo was dumbfounded. Was Ava being this forward today? Should he go along with it or not? Soon, he realized he'd been overthinking things. Ava circled him, carefully examining his body. Oomph. You're lucky you're not hurt, she muttered. If I found a single scratch on you, you'd be dead. Seeing her like this, Leo found it strangely amusing. All this fuss, and it was because she was worried he was hurt? TSK. Even now, she had to be so stubborn. Classic Ava. How could I get hurt? If I got hurt, my adorable girlfriend would be heartbroken. I would not be heartbroken. Ava said dismissively. You're always causing trouble. If you get hurt, you deserve it. Now get out, I'm going to sleep. Seriously? You call me to your room in the middle of the night, strip me naked, and then you're just going to kick me out? Leo looked at her with disbelief. I don't care. You took my clothes off, now you have to take responsibility for me, Leo declared, going into full, shameless mode. Without waiting for her to agree, he flopped on her bed and pulled the covers over himself. Get up, Ava said, annoyed. He was messing up her bed. I won't. My feelings are hurt. You have to take responsibility. What do you want? Ava asked, exasperated. I'm sleeping in your room tonight. Fine. Then I'll sleep in your room. Ava turned to leave. Suddenly, a hand shot out from under the covers, grabbed her arm, and pulled. Ava tumbled into the bed and into the blankets with him. Leo, what are you doing? MMPH. Before she could finish, Leo's mouth was on hers, silencing her. Ava's hands tapped lightly against his chest, but he didn't move. After a long moment, the kiss ended. Huh. Ava lay in his arms, panting softly. My brother's still here, she said with a frown. It's fine. He won't know if we don't tell him, Leo whispered, then added, besides, we're practically living together. Isn't it normal for us to sleep in the same bed? Not to mention, he still had a plan to get her pregnant. How was he supposed to do that if they weren't even in the same bed? Ava shot him a light glare, but didn't argue further. After the past couple of days, she had gotten used to sleeping in his arms. Without him, it felt like something was missing. Fine, but I'm warning you, don't try anything, she relented, but still threatened. If I find your hands wandering, I'm kicking you out. Her words reminded Leo of that morning, and the bizarre incident of his hand mysteriously ending up inside her shirt. Okay, I promise I won't move, Leo swore solemnly. You know my character? I'm a perfect gentleman. You'd better be, Ava said flatly, then kicked him hard in the butt. First, go take a shower. You've messed up my entire bed. Leo clutched his rear and trudged pitifully to the bathroom. While he was gone, Ava straightened out the rumpled sheets. The next morning, Leo groggily opened his eyes. Unsurprisingly, his hand had once again mysteriously migrated into Ava's shirt. The bizarre phenomenon had occurred yet again. A shiver ran down Leo's spine. Then he expertly continued what he was doing. If they were back home, Leo might have just gone for it right then and there. Ever since Julian had brought up the $10 million last night, his mind had been consumed with one thought: getting Ava pregnant. As a result, his hands had grown bolder. He was lost in a wonderful sensation, completely unaware that Ava was already awake. The moment she woke, She felt Leo's hand running wild inside her shirt. All sleepiness vanished instantly, and a deep blush spread across her cheeks. Leo. Evans. Smack. After hissing his name through gritted teeth, a bright red handprint appeared on Leo's face. You pervert. You promised you wouldn't move. What was all that you said last night? You call yourself a gentleman? What kind of gentleman does this? Ava sat up in bed, arms crossed, and sternly berated him for his lecherous behavior. Leo knelt before her, head bowed, not daring to say a word. He'd been caught red-handed. The jig was up. After a thorough lecture from Ava, Leo was unceremoniously kicked out of her room. He peeked around the hallway and, seeing no one, let out a quiet sigh of relief. Luckily, Julian and Kane were still asleep. He couldn't imagine their reactions if they saw him emerging from Ava's room with a fresh handprint on his face. Julian would probably try to kill him on the spot. He went to the bathroom and splashed his face with water. The handprint was already starting to fade. After gearing up, Leo quietly left the estate. He had important business to attend to today. Hey, Ethan, what are you doing? As soon as he stepped outside, Leo saw Ethan Xie holding a large box. What's in there? Let me see. Curious. Leo walked over and opened the box, his eyes widening in surprise. It was filled to the brim with black throwing knives. Whoa, what are you planning? Leo couldn't help but ask. You're not going to carry this giant box into a fight, are you? You don't know anything. Ethan looked at Leo with disdain, then set the box down and opened his trench coat. See this? This coat is custom-made. Ethan proudly shook his coat. The inner pockets are specially designed. It can hold 81 throwing knives. I'm telling you, the only reason we got into trouble yesterday was because I didn't have enough knives. If I'd been wearing this coat and had all 81, we wouldn't have been chased like that. I could have taken them all down myself. Yeah, right? One sniper round, and you'd be singing a different tune, Leo thought, dismissing Ethan's blustering as empty talk. So, where are you headed? Leo asked. Westlake University, of course, Ethan said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Lucia is there with the BSO team. As her boyfriend, it's my duty to go help her. Besides, this was a golden opportunity to score some points with the BSO agents. Once he had their approval, he could make his relationship with Lucia public. Then he could finally date her openly. Does Lucia know about this plan of yours? Leo asked. No, and today is the Festival of Lights. I'm going to surprise her by showing up unexpectedly. Leo fell into a deep silence. After a long moment, he said, Well, in that case, I wish you good luck. Surprise? More like a heart attack. Leo would bet his life that Lucia would have Ethan strung up and beaten after this. TSK. He had to make sure he was there to take pictures. What about you? Where are you off to so early? Ethan asked. Going to find my dumb raccoon, and then I'm going to track down my subordinates and see if they're still alive, Leo said with a yawn. He waved to Ethan and walked away. According to Julian's plan from last night, he had to contact Alex Young and the others first thing this morning and get them into position around the university. As for the raccoon, he was currently in the syndicate's kitchen, feasting on fish. Leaving the estate, Leo hailed a cab and gave the driver the address where he was meeting Alex. As they drove, several fire trucks sped past in the opposite direction. Man, those firefighters really have it tough, the cab driver said with a sigh. Heard some big shot family had a gas tank explode last night. The fire was so bad, they were apparently fighting it all night before they finally put it out. I just hope no one was hurt. Looks like they lost a lot of property, though. Money and things are one thing, but as long as everyone's okay, that's what matters most. Right, kid? Leo sat in the back, his face a mask of calm. Yeah, he agreed. As long as everyone's okay. That rich family should have been more careful. Gas tanks are dangerous. You're telling me. Let me tell you, these rich folks, they just don't have any common sense about safety. The driver was clearly a talkative one, and now that Leo had engaged, he launched into a long chat. Soon, they reached the destination. The driver, perhaps because he'd enjoyed the conversation, even knocked a few dollars off the fare. The meeting spot Leo had arranged with Alex Young was Centennial Park, the same place where they had captured Zeke Foam. Walking into the park, Leo saw Alex sitting on a bench from a distance, a look of pure despair on his face. I never should have made that bet. When Director Jensen told him Leo had found Dr. Marks, Alex felt his world collapse. He remembered betting Jensen that if Leo could find Dr. Marks, he would willingly serve as Leo's subordinate. He never thought he'd lose just a few days later. A man of his word, Alex had followed Jensen's orders and taken an overnight car to Westlake City to report to Leo. Alex Young, sitting on the bench, saw Leo approaching from a distance. After a cautious glance around, he stood up and walked toward him. Leo, you're finally here, Stop. Leo held up a hand, signaling for Alex to stay put. Alex froze. What now? Leo's voice dropped to a low, serious tone. The code. Alex's mouth twitched. He remembered the ridiculous code phrase Leo had insisted on last night. Is that really necessary? Alex asked reluctantly. I'm standing right in front of you. Do we still need a code? Of course we do, Leo said, as if it were obvious. We're on a mission. Every detail matters. To you, this code might seem trivial, but it could be crucial at a critical moment. Alex, I'm not trying to lecture you, but you're a veteran agent. How can you not understand something so simple? And I've told you before, use code names during operations. All right, I'll say it. Alex cut him off. If he let Leo continue, they'd never get down to business. Biting his lip in humiliation, Alex stammered, Inferno burrito. Loyalty. Code confirmed. Leo beamed. Alex was so embarrassed he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. It was just too shameful. Are you alone? Leo asked, looking around. Tank is with me, but he said he didn't want to see you, so I let him stay at the hotel, Alex said, then added, besides us, the rest of the Special Operations Unit is spread throughout Westlake City. They haven't been detected. Leo nodded. With a capable manager like Alex around, his role as the unit's leader was basically just a title. He was a complete hands-off boss. He didn't even know how many people were under his command, only that they were a mix of Reed family and BSO personnel, and that Marco was apparently one of them. TSK, why is Tank avoiding me? Leo said, disgruntled. If everyone acts like him, how am I supposed to lead this team? Alex said nothing, just stare at Leo. You call this leading a team? You even know you have a team? You have no idea why Tank is avoiding you. Alex sighed, not bothering to argue. After spending so much time with Leo, he had learned one important rule. When you're with Leo, talk as little as possible. Talking to Leo was the ultimate mental drain. Let's get to business. What's the plan for our people? Alex said, according to Julian, Vance's people could move at any time, so we have to act fast. Leo paused in thought, then continued, gather everyone and get them into position around Westlake University. Wait for my signal. Alex frowned slightly. That will take some time. We can't be discovered, so we'll have to move carefully. That's your problem, not mine, Leo said, completely shirking responsibility. I'm the boss. I give the orders. If the mission fails, it's because you guys aren't competent enough. His words made Alex's fists clench. He desperately wanted to punch Leo. Now he was a little envious of Tank for not having to deal with this. Wait a second. Alex suddenly realized that, by rank, he was Tank's superior. He made a decision. The next time he had to talk to Leo, he'd send Tank as the messenger. Better his comrades suffer than him. Taking a deep breath to calm himself, Alex gritted his teeth. Fine. I guarantee the mission will be completed. Is that good enough for you? That's more like it. Leo nodded with satisfaction. For the first time, he was starting to appreciate having people under him. It really did make things easier. What was that saying? If you don't know how to lead a team, you'll work yourself to death alone. But now, Leo wasn't alone. If you learn to lead a team, you can make them work to death for you. By the way, Director Jensen asked me to give you this. Alex took a red badge from his pocket and handed it to Leo. This is our Special Operations Unit's badge. Everyone has one, but yours is custom-made. The others are all gray. Only the leader's badge is red, which represents your ultimate authority. You have to keep this badge safe because from now on, we recognize the badge, not the person. Leo took the badge and examined it. The front of the red badge, unlike the standard BSO insignia, featured a cross gun and knife. It looked pretty badass was all he could say. On the back were two black words. Leo Evans. TSK, you only recognize the badge, not the person? Leo raised an eyebrow, a mischievous glint in his eye. So, if I put this badge on my dumb cat, does that mean you all become the Meow Meow Squad? If you actually do that, Director Jensen will probably kill you, Alex said sternly. This badge is extremely important. Keep it safe and don't let anyone steal it, understand? Relax. No one can take anything from me. Leo puffed out his chest and promised. Anyone who dared to steal from him had better be prepared for their family to be blown to pieces. Right, where's the stuff I asked for? Leo asked. That was the main reason he had come. Alex turned, bent down, and pulled a handbag out from under the bench. Here are the explosives you wanted. The BSO doesn't have much of this stuff in stock, so this is all I could get. No problem, this is enough. Leo took the bag and opened it. It was full of C4. He had already used up all the explosives Julian had brought last night. Julian had said that was their last stockpile. The Reed family was completely out. Fortunately, Alex and his team had brought some for their mission, so Leo had simply asked him to bring it today. Alex hadn't objected. In fact, the explosives were originally intended for Leo anyway. In Leo's hands, this stuff would be 200% more effective. All right, that's it for now. Contact me if anything comes up, Leo said with a wave, turning to leave. Wait, where are you going? Alex couldn't help but ask. You're the boss. Aren't you going to join us? Why would I do that? Leo turned back, puzzled. I've always worked alone. I'm all about adapting on the fly. Our opponent this time is the Vance Dominion. These are their elites, not like the Foam Alliance, Alex said, frustrated. Can't we have a little bit of discipline and organization? Elites. Leo's eyebrow shot up. I eat elites for breakfast. With that, he walked away, bag of explosives in hand, without a second glance, leaving Alex standing there, utterly bewildered.